The reborn prince wakes up in his bed in the kingdom of Carterosa. The rays of the sun hit him in the face. There was a book left in the guy's hands from the evening, which he did not finish reading. The guy realizes that it's sudden, but he has memories of a past life. The main character is the third prince, named Hiro Carterosa. Hiro remembers that in his previous life he was an office employee in Japan. That very day, he was on a terribly crowded train after finishing the day at his boring job. He was constantly confronted with unfair human relationships. Hiro was free from this life and reborn into a prince from a country in another world. The guy understood that at first he was even glad for a second that he'd become a prince. But he found himself in a country that was below the poverty line, and this fact was very annoying for the main character. After a while, the grinding of iron was heard on the streets of the kingdom. Hiro and the man were fighting with swords against each other. Hiro tried his best to cope with the man, but he was not inferior to him. The man shouted that this was not all. Suddenly, Hiro outsmarted the man, and he brought his sword closer to the opponent's throat. The man stopped and tensed, but the main character was confident in himself. Hiro, with a happy face, told Hisu that he had finally defeated him. The guy's opponent was a swordsmanship instructor, the head of the Clifford family, Oas, His Clifford. The man laughed and told Prince Hiro that he was growing in his abilities. In just 2 years, he was able to defeat him in 1 round. Hiro was glad, and he thanked the man for his support. The guy said that if Hisa had the strength, as in his youth, then he would not have succeeded. His replied to the guy that this was not the case. His defeat was inevitable, because Hiro absorbs everything like a sponge. The man laughed again and said that at this rate he would not be afraid of any opponent. Hiro thought about it. The guy asked Hisa who would want to attack this country. The guy admitted that even if they were conquered, there would be nothing to take away. Other countries don't pay attention, because they will be a ballast for them. That was the kind of desperate country it was. The kingdom of Carterosa is the country where Hiro was born. It was a small state with a population of only 1,000 people, and Hiro was also the third prince of this country. His older brothers are strong, of course, but they are dangerous. There is a possibility that the throne will pass to him. Hiro understood that people usually rejoice at this, but since it happens in this country, he was not at all happy about this combination of circumstances. The soil there was infertile, so nothing can be grown, and the country does not have the resources for this. The kingdom of Carterosa is not only small, but also terribly poor. The guy looked around and thought that this was definitely a hopeless place. Hiro turned to Hisu and said that he would probably go. His reply to the prince that, of course, he always says this, but for the prince to deliberately go for such a thing, it was incomprehensible to him. Hiro replied that their soil was infertile, and not many crops could be grown on it. Therefore, the guy wants to quickly increase the area of the cultivated fields. After a while, Hiro and his decided to take a walk around the kingdom. The guy was looking at the destroyed possessions and thinking about the future. Hiro and his walked towards the arable land. Hiro was greeted joyfully by people who shouted that it was Prince Hiro. People were surprised that the guy came on this day. They decided to show him today's achievements. Hiro asked the guys how they were doing. They replied that they had been cultivating the land since the morning. At first, they dug everything up without any problems, and then they had a hard time because of the problematic tree. Hiro was surprised and asked him to show it. They came to a huge tree with a thick trunk. One of the guys said that's what it is. Even 10 people couldn't handle him, and you can't take him with an axe. Hiro looked at the tree carefully, and an idea came to his mind. The guy assumed that it had probably been guarding these lands for several hundred years. Somehow his hand does not rise to cut it down. His told the prince that he was kindness itself. The guy thought that in order for them to have a harvest, they would have to cut it down. There are magical abilities in this world. This is a power that manifests itself only in representatives of selected genera. If a person has them, then they can improve their physical abilities. That's why Hiro grabbed his weapon and decided to deal with this tree himself. He swung and hit the trunk with his sword. The tree began to crack, and after a moment it fell to the ground. Everyone started shouting to Hiro in surprise that he was doing well. The guys were surprised that Hiro could cut down such a huge tree with just one blow. Hiro told the guys that it was time to remove the interference. He suggested that they finish cultivating the land in this place today, and all the workers agreed with him. One of the guys told the prince that they had done a good job today. Therefore, Hiro can eat steamed potatoes that his mother cooked. Hiro thanked the guy and said that he would definitely eat it. One of the workers told him to give them a snack too, because they were hungry. The guy replied that they could eat a little and then they could work as hard as the prince. Everyone agreed with him. People assumed that at this rate they would cultivate a field there by the summer. If they plant potatoes, they will be able to harvest by winter. People thanked the prince for his work. Hiro ate potatoes and thought that they were very good people. They were starving last winter, but this time Hiro promised he wouldn't let that happen. The residents still needed fields, but anyway, they are currently developing the land. The guy looked at the potatoes and thought that they had grown them from seed potatoes, imported from another country. Thanks to the fact that potatoes appeared, growing even in such a weak land, this country was largely saved. However, the guy remembered what it cost them all. The guy was walking very tired after a hard day's work to his room. Hiro thought about how he had sword training in the morning and country management training in the afternoon. In between, the guy was engaged in land development. The guy suggested that it was too much work for him. Suddenly, the guy heard someone call out to him. It was a girl who ran to the main character. Hiro said he was glad to see his sister. The girl replied that they had not seen each other for a long time. He has grown so much during this time. The girl was very glad that she had met him. Hiro asked his sister what she was doing there. This girl was the first princess of the kingdom of Carterosa, named Molly Carterosa. Mayeli said that she had come to pick up a forgotten item. He's on an expedition now, so she ran away to this place. Hiro looked at his sister and thought that she had sacrificed herself. At one reception, a prince of a rich country noticed her and married her on the condition that he would help their country. Thanks to this, they didn't have many famine victims last year. He remembers the severity of those times. Hiro thought that this girl was his first love, but he couldn't help anyone, so he let her go. Her husband is worried, and the rumors about him are unflattering. She is thinner even than when they had nothing to eat in their country. Hiro also saw bruises on her wrist peeking out of her sleeve. Hiro looked at the girl with fascination and said that she was a sister. The guy tried to contain his emotions, but he squeezed his eyes shut to stop the tears. Hiro asked Mayeli if she had time to have dinner. The girl replied that yes, of course, she was very hungry. Hiro replied that it was good. They would have everything ready now. After a while, the maid prepared food for the guys. They were served soup made from leftover vegetables, dried meat, potatoes boiled in salt water, and water. Hiro said that even that turned out to be pretty passable. But now they can eat every day and not starve. Mayeli told Hiro that she had heard that he had been actively doing business lately. Thanks to him, they are finishing developing even those lands that were supposed to be occupied only next year. Hiro was very pleased to hear that. The guy replied to the girl that he tried because there was no place to plant the potatoes that she sent. Everything so that her efforts would not be in vain. Suddenly, May hugged the guy tightly and thanked him. The girl said that Hiro was always such a good kid. Hearing these words, the main character was slightly upset. The guy stood up on his toes a little and told May to stop talking like that, because he was no longer a child at all. May replied to the guy that no, he was a child. Therefore, the girl asked the guy to try not to do anything stupid. Hiro replied that he wasn't doing anything wrong, and besides, he is not omnipotent. Hiro understood that he could help develop the lands because he had magical abilities. He is strong because he was trained by a sword instructor. If you look at the whole country, then his strength alone is still powerlessness. The guy had a specific desire. How? He really wants to save the country. To fulfill this desire, Hiro, as an ordinary office employee, did not have any knowledge at all. Hiro did not know how to apply his knowledge in practice, and infinitely many times, everything went wrong for him. Hiro thought that he wanted to do something anyway. He just recklessly does his best every day. Meili touched the guy's face with her hands and asked him what he was thinking about something complicated again. The girl assured Hiro that he had nothing to worry about. His sister would come up with something. Hiro asked the girl if Molly would return if he made the country rich. The girl laughed and said that it would be great, but it's just impossible. Meili said she would go after the meal. She kissed Hiro on the head and said that she loved her charming Hiro very much. After a while, Meili packed up and went down to the carriage. The girl looked up and waved goodbye to Hiro. At that moment, Hiro thought that she must have come today to deliver help from that man. He remembered the things his sister had traded her life for, and the guy immediately felt uneasy. He began to shake and then hit the windowsill with his fist with all his might. The guy thought that he really wants to become strong. At this rate, he won't get anything by trying, neither by sword nor by study. If nothing special happens, then it will be the end. Hiro decided that he would change the current situation. The guy did not understand that there really was no force suitable for his situation. Suddenly, in Hiro's head, someone told him that he would give the answer to the guy. This scared and surprised Hiro very much, and the guy asked what it was. Hiro felt that his heart was hurting a lot. He did not understand what it could be. Hiro abruptly turned back and looked around the room, which was empty. Hiro asked if anyone was there. Suddenly, a voice was heard in the guy's head again, which said that his name was the respondent. Hiro asked the voice what it meant. The guy understood that something was clearly coming out of him. The respondent said that he always existed in it and looked out for the guy. Now that he was begging so hard, the voice promised to definitely become his strength. Hiro realized that the pain was mixed with the heat. There are people in this world who are born with magical abilities. If he has abilities, there is a small chance he can also wield a special power called magic. It was a bundle of magical power, giving answers to any questions of the owner. Hiro realized that the respondent was his magic. Hiro was sitting in his room and chatting with the respondent. The guy was given information that he could get the desired information that the magician sees. The amount of information increases depending on the magic power used. The usage limit is 1 time in 30 days. Hiro thought it was a convenient ability, but he was confused that it was given once every 30 days. Hiro decided that he had an opportunity to use it now. What is needed now for the world? The guy wants to use all his magic power to learn more. Hiro turned to the respondent and said that he wanted to find out how to make the fertilizer as effective as possible so that he could make it himself. The respondent replied that the main elements are nitrogen, pos, potassium, magnesium. These are necessary materials. Hiro replied to the voice that everything was clear to him. It was amazing for him. The guy asked what else he could tell him about the shops where it could be bought, and immediately the voice replied that it was a confirmation of the maximum consumption of magical power. As an exception, the respondent will tell you about the information of rank A. Hiro thought about it, and the respondent said that it usually takes time to create fertilizer. In case they need it in a short time, he recommends that the main character study alchemy. Hiro was very surprised to hear about alchemy. The respondent added that if alchemy is used, the work time will be halved. Hiro said that this is magic that the church banned a few hundred years ago. It's forbidden magic, so you can't just use it. But the guy thought that the respondent knows the cooking method, and with the help of alchemy, all this can be realized. The guy was sure that if he did this, then this country, this world, and all this would be able to change for the better. All this is happening because the church has forbidden it. The guy was very scared of the prohibitions. The respondent said that in order to study alchemy, you need to travel about 24 kilometers to the southeast. The respondent sent the coordinates to his brain. Immediately, the coordinates appeared in the guy's head, according to which he decided to hit the road. The respondent said that the legacy of the legendary alchemist Cronel Kaiser is located there. Therefore, the respondent recommended that he take it for himself. But this legacy is in a very difficult place. After some time, Hiro set off on his way. He climbed a huge one. A stone wall knocked on it, and a tunnel formed in front of the guy. Hiro immediately climbed in there and crawled even deeper into the tunnel. The guy stopped and saw a small space there. The guy thought that this was the place that the respondent had pointed out. The guy was very cold because of the lack of air. Hiro suggested that it might be magic for him to increase his physical strength. But he decided that no, the guy didn't know how much was left yet, so he needed to save it. Hiro went deeper into the tunnel, and suddenly something caught his attention. A large hall appeared in front of the guy, in the center of which was a puzzle. Hiro said that he was definitely not of natural origin. He wondered if there was anything inside this puzzle. Hiro took one of the parts and realized that this was the legacy of Cronel Kaiser, and he was a pro at this. The guy quickly put the puzzle together, which he was very happy about. The puzzle began to squeak, and after that, the mechanism turned on. Right in front of Hiro, a passage began to open further into the tunnel. The guy went there and said it was warm there. It seemed to him that there should be a room further on. Suddenly, Hiro stopped because he saw something. The guy with the surprised eyes said that this was what he was looking for. An alchemist appeared in front of Hiro, who was in a large room with many books and said that finally someone had been found who would inherit his alchemy. He's been waiting for this for a very long time. Well, ox 960 years and 32 days. Hiro asked a new acquaintance that he was the legendary alchemist Cronel Kaiser. Cronel replied that it really was, but he immediately corrected himself and said that no, he was just a golem with a recorded memory. He is waiting for a successor there. The guy thought that he understood that this was a desecration for the church. Cronel told the young man that he didn't have time. His existence here is temporary. He has 5 days left before the magical powers that keep him there run out. Hiro was very surprised that there were only 5 days left. The guy thought that if this is the case, then every second is important. Therefore, he should not hesitate. Hiro turned to Cronel and asked her to teach him. Cronel replied to the guy that it was very good that he did not think long. The golem promised to hammer the knowledge of alchemy into him in 5 days. Hiro agreed with him and thought that Cronel was smiling. The guy thought that he had little food and water left, and it seems to him that he will be able to learn these 5 days without rest and sleep, restoring himself with magic. Hiro realized that the main problem was that he would not be in the castle all these days, and this means that his will get very angry. Cronel turned to the guy and said that everything they would learn in these 5 days would be the basis. After that, he will need to learn from the materials. Hiro asked the golem that after learning the basics and concepts, he would be able to practice effectively on his own. Cronel laughed and said that it was very good that the young man understood this. He asked the guy what his smart name was. Hiro Carterosa introduced himself, and Cronel said that this bloodline and these eyes look like something. But the golem said that no, it doesn't concern him. He invited the guy to start their first lesson. Hiro happily agreed and called Cronel a teacher. The golem was pleased with this, and Cronel said that he had not heard this for a long time. Meanwhile, 5 days have passed. Cronel turned to Hiro and he asked the guy if the foundation of alchemy was perfect. The guy replied that he was. He said that alchemy is activated by infusing magical power in different waves into a special blue gemstone. Unlike other magic, alchemy is similar to programming with regularity, pouring magical power in different waves onto the code, a blue gem onto the compiler. To form magic or code, a general concept of functions, a pointer, an array, and a parameter is required. The guy said that after calculating the information about the location of the seals, the connections between the magical forces should be thoroughly mixed. Hiro added that as a result of this combination in smelting, it is possible to produce matter or body, soul. That's the kind of rational magic, and if you summarize all this, it turns out something like this. Hiro asked the golem what the guy's story was like. Cronel thought about it. The golem said that he was glad that Hiro was able to. If someone else had been there, he would hardly have been able to teach him the basics. Hiro replied that he just knew something similar to alchemy. The guy thought that it was lucky that he knew programming. If he didn't know, it wouldn't take him a few days to understand the basics. The golem said that there are no other items that look like alchemy. Among all magic, alchemy is the most rational. It is a wonderful magic. But still, Cronel was calm, and he would finally be able to leave in peace. Golem added that he accepts him as his successor and trusts his accumulated wisdom to him. Cronel thanked the guy for this, and he praised that there will be even more of this knowledge in his hands. Cronel's last request was that he asked to pass it all on to the next generation. After that, the golem began to disappear. Hiro looked at it with fascination. The guy bowed before his teacher and thanked him for all the knowledge that he had entrusted to him. The guy promised that he would definitely do everything that he asked him to do. The guy started to move towards the exit, and Hiro thought that he had learned the basics and mastered the concept and idea. Later, he will study the abandoned materials of the legendary alchemist Cronel Kaiser. The guy got the power of alchemy, which was banned, and she disappeared from this world. Hiro knew that with this power, he could change everything. Meanwhile, 2 years had passed since he started studying alchemy. To put it simply, alchemy is a processing technology. Since everything requires a material, you can change the substance a little, but you cannot turn a stone into gold. If you use this convenient magic, then, depending on the plan, you can earn a lot of money and become rich. If he only thought about himself, then it would be better for him to leave this kingdom. He would find a place for himself anywhere. But still, the guy was sure that he would not do this because he loves his kingdom. Hiro thought that even if he only had this power, he would save the kingdom. bring his sister back. He has studied a lot for this, and finally he will start moving. The guy was sure that he would definitely do it, even if he had to do it alone. At least that's what Hiro thought. After a while, a girl came up to Hiro and said that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. The girl called the guy a crybaby. Hiro realized that it was his childhood friend. He couldn't believe this meeting at first, but the guy was very happy. This girl's name is Hibana Clurford, and she's his granddaughter. The girl went to the Principality of Culinary to study swordsmanship. His told Hiro that, as he already knows, Hibana went to his friend for training, but since it had already ended, the girl returned home. Hiro replied that everything was clear to him, and they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Suddenly, Hiro got angry, and he asked Hibana not to call him a crybaby, because he had already changed. The girl asked the guy in disbelief if it was true. His turned to Hiro and said that Hibana was 14 years old, and she had enough skills to join the Bronze Knightly Order of the Principality of Culinary. The guy was very surprised by this. He asked Hissa that this was the strongest knight order that only a high-class swordsman could join. It was very cool for a guy. Hibana asked the guy that this was the lowest order of all three. Hiro replied that no matter what, it was impressive. However, Hiro asked the girl why she had returned. If she was able to join the Bronze Knight Order at that age, then she will even be able to join the Golden Knight Order. The guy asked if it wasn't an honor for a swordsman. The guy's words at first slightly confused the girl, but then they made her very angry. Hibana shouted to Hiro that she had returned because of their promise. If he says now that he forgot about him, then the girl promised to hit Hiro. The young man thought about her words. A few years ago, Hiro and Hibana were sitting on the grass and the guy was crying while Hibana was calming him down. The girl said that today, after all, Natalie is getting married. She asked the guy to smile, otherwise they would be sent home. Hiro told the girl that she was crying too. Hibana replied that she also loves Meili, and she doesn't want to see her so sad. Hiro replied to Hibana that he would change this kingdom. He can't do it now, but he will change it in the future. Hibana replied that if he said it, then the girl would become his sword. The guys crossed their little fingers as a sign of promise to each other. At that moment, Hiro remembered everything, and he told the girl that she remembered it all. Hibana replied that, of course, she remembers everything. But the girl corrected herself and said that she would like to say so. Hibana admitted that she couldn't really understand herself when she returned to this kingdom. As she grew up, she kept thinking that it was impossible to change this country. When she went outside, she noticed what a dangerous, dubious kingdom Carterosa was. Imagining that Hiro had given up on his dream, she was very scared. And then the girl thought that it would be nice to join the Golden Knight Order. Hiro replied to the girl that it was a good idea. He asked Hibana why she was here now. The girl said that she learned from her grandfather's letter that the girl was wondering if she had given up on Hiro. After all, he can actually save the kingdom. And it was also written in the letter that Hiro did not give up. He was trying to do at least something. And then Hibana realized that this was the reason for her return. The girl said that's why she came back. She wants to make sure that he hasn't really given up on his dream. Hiro thought about it and looked at Hissa, who smiled at the guy. His told the guy that he knew they would start acting soon, so he texted Hibana. Hiro replied that he had indeed predicted it very accurately. Heath said that since he was a baby, he had always looked out for them. They could never hide any secret from him. He's added that they cried all the time back then. It was just fine. Hiro tensed up and asked Hissa to stop. His and Hibana immediately laughed. Hiro smiled and thought that, yes, he had his, and Hibana had returned to him. So the guy decided that now was the right time. Hibana turned to Hiro and asked him how he was going to save this worthless kingdom. The girl was just wondering if he really had the power to carry out his plans. Hibana added that he also loves this country, so he wants to save what can be saved. He wants to fulfill their promise. But if it's an impossible dream, a promise, then all they can do is leave it. Hiro replied that it was fine. He would show them something interesting. Hiro took the boys down to the basement, where they walked through a long tunnel. Hiro invited them to enter a hall with 2 floors, lots of books, and magical items. His and Hibana were shocked by what they saw. Hibana was surprised to ask the guy that there was such a basement in this castle. His didn't know about it either. Hiro replied that of course they didn't know. He created it himself. Hibana asked the guy if he was joking about it or not. The girl asked that he also created this room and this passage. The girl shouted that it would take several decades to build a stone wall and hold the light alone. It was warm and not stuffy. Hayes added that he also thinks so. It is impossible to build such a thing with the skills of the carpenters of their kingdom. Hiro turned to his and said that it was possible to do this through magic, but it was impossible with the help of human power. His understood what the guy meant. The man told Hiro that he had been thinking all this time what the guy was up to, but he could not even think that he would be able to prepare such a thing. Hiro told the man that it was too early for him to be surprised. What he wants to show them is ahead. The guy got ready to open the door, and he told the guys that these were the results of his desperate training and research over the past 2 years. He asked his guests to see what kind of invention it was that would greatly change the small kingdom of Carterosa. A huge hall with fascinating architecture and a large wheat field appeared in front of the guys. When Hiro took the guys to the place he wanted to show them, they were very surprised. The girl shouted that it was wheat. She asked if it was possible to grow wheat in this kingdom. Their ancestors tried to grow it so many times, but none of them succeeded. And there was a whole garden. Hiro replied that this was his testing ground. There he creates and experiments on things that will help their country, and one of those things was wheat. The guy said that he strengthened her vitality of breeding. It can grow even in cold climates, and it hurts less, and the growth rate is very fast. Wheat can be planted in spring as well as in early summer. It was an exceptional speed. It also tasted good. There was a lot of sugar in it, so if you bake bread, it will be sweet and lush. Hibana said that it was an amazing wheat. She asked Hiro if you plant it on the ground, it will grow the same as there. Hiro replied that no matter how amazing wheat is, if there is no nutritious soil, it will not germinate. He asked the guys to see that a very good fertilizer is used at this post office. Suddenly, the guys saw that it was the corpse of a monster, and they were very surprised. Hiro said that these are creatures that are ravaging their country. His asked that their bodies contain miasma that makes it unsuitable for food and pollutes the environment. Hiro replied that he did, so he came up with this seed. This seed needs to be planted in a corpse. At the same moment, this seed began to germinate in front of the guys. Hiro said that then the kidneys will begin to sprout, neutralizing the miasma in the process of assimilation of nutrients. After that, the body begins to dry out and it returns to the soil. After that, the soil becomes very nutritious, as there is a lot of energy in the monster's body. Hibana said that it was just amazing. She couldn't even believe that wheat could grow in this country. Hiro replied that yes, the land of this kingdom can do a lot. It may even become an exporter of food to large countries. The guy turned to Hibana and asked her if she was interested. Hiro said that this is just the beginning. He will be able to change everything with this power. When he made that promise, he was just a helpless child. But now everything is different. The guy has the power to make his dream come true. Hiro held out his hand to Hibana and asked her to keep their promise. The girl replied that she would be happy to do it. Hibana was sure that with Hiro's power, this kingdom would change. The girl asked the guy to let her see it from a special place. Hibana said that she would become Hiro's sword. At that moment, his was looking at the guys, but suddenly he frowned. His turned to Prince Hiro and said that he had grown wheat himself and built this cellar. Hiro replied that yes, it is. Heath asked if he had done all this using something that the church had banned several hundred years ago. Hiro thought about it and replied that there was still nothing to hide from Hisa. The guy replied that yes, he used alchemy. He shouted that he knew it. His said that if anyone found out about it, they would feel very bad. Hiro replied that the church would not sit idly by. He asked the man not to worry, because he would do everything right. The man wanted to object to the guy, but Hiro replied that he had already decided everything. He knows it's a forbidden power, but if he has a chance to save the kingdom, he'll take it. The guy thought that the influence of the church was nothing to him. He would protect his beloved cause at any cost. Hibana and his looked at the guy thoughtfully, and his replied that he had done all this for his native place. Suddenly, his was delighted and told Hiro that he understood him. He will help him in this matter. The man said that everything was just fine. He asked the prince to let him support him. Hiro was slightly embarrassed, and at the same moment Hibana grabbed Hiro and she asked her grandfather to stop. It wasn't fair that he always touched Hiro. Hibana told the guy that because he uses alchemy, she won't change her mind about him. The girl added that if something bad was done to him because of this, she would kill them. Hiro smiled at that. Heath told the guys that he was counting on them. Hibana hugged the guy even tighter, and they said that of course they would do their best. Hibana turned to Hiro, and she said she wanted to become his knight. The girl asked if he could initiate her right away. His got angry and replied to the girl that in order to become a knight, you need to hold an official initiation ceremony. And besides, she can't be the personal knight of someone from the royal family. The girl asked her grandfather in surprise why he was saying that. Suddenly, Hibana remembered that there was such a stupid rule. The royal family must dedicate the knight itself, hold a ceremony, and give the knight a manufactured sword. Knighthood is a very important tradition. You can't skip anything in this case. Hiro replied that it was true. She became his secret accomplice. He needed the girl to be able to act freely. A ceremony needs to be held so that all people know that she is his knight. Hibana started asking to do it as soon as possible. You can use some cheap stuff as a sword. But Hiro replied that no, she would use this sword to protect him. Hibana winked at the guy and asked what it meant that he would use alchemy to make him a cool sword. Hiro replied that he had planned it. They will make a sword that can surpass even the sacred sword of the Culinary principality. Hibana said he swung too high. In the principality of Culinary, only 12 knights from the Golden Order are allowed to have sacred swords. Hiro replied that if they couldn't do that, then they wouldn't be able to enrich their kingdom. The guy turned to Hibana and asked for her sword. The girl handed over the weapon. Hiro said that he would use the sword as a base and make a new weapon. It is better to use a sword that has been used for a long time, with a good center of gravity and blade length. The guy examined the weapon and said it was a good sword. The guy thought that the material of this sword was an iron CHHEN-based alloy. The blade is very well forged and polished, just a sight to behold. The guy was wondering how many decades he needed to train in blacksmithing to make such a sword. It even seemed a little unfair to the guy that he was using magic for this. Hiro asked the girl if she had any requirements for the sword. Suddenly, Hibana replied that in her technique, speed is more important than gravity. She prefers to cut her opponent rather than destroy him. Therefore, the girl admitted that it would be ideal if the sword were light in the range where it is necessary to maintain intensity. She would also like to shorten the length of the blade a little and lower the center of gravity just a little. Hiro replied that the girl had more demands than he might have thought. But despite this, he agreed. The guy held up Hibana's sword in front of him and began to use magic. Everything around began to change, and magic began to improve the girl's sword. After a while, the weapon was ready. His and Hibana were very surprised at what the guy did. Hibana closed her mouth in surprise and said that's how he uses this bracelet. Hiro replied that he was from Mithril. Heath said it was legendary metal, and this is the first time he's seen it. Hiro said that this is alchemy. After a while, Hibana began to train with a new sword. She practiced her striking technique and tried to adapt to the new weapon. At some point, she managed to cut into several pieces the statue of the knight she was training on. The girl's eyes immediately widened because she was very surprised by this. Hibana said she didn't feel anything, even though she chopped up an entire statue. Hiro replied that he was also surprised. Without using magical body strengthening, she was able to cut the statue in two. Hibana winked at Hiro and said that she wanted him to see her true strength. Hiro thought that this was to be expected. From her appearance, it could be understood that she was quite good at controlling magic power, but had not used it until this moment. Hibana turned to Hiro, and she asked the guy to give her this mithril sword. But Hiro abruptly replied that no, he would not do that. Hibana started talking about how much she really wanted him. Hiro replied that he was his. He only gave her this weapon for a while. Hibana was upset and said she was very sorry. Hiro asked the girl not to get upset so much, because he would make a much better sword for her than this experimental one. Hibana asked in surprise how he could make the sword even better. Hiro replied that he would make it from stored materials. Hibana was very happy, and she thanked the guy for his help. The girl said that she was looking forward to this moment. Hiro asked the girl to rely on him, and so, when night fell, Hiro was left alone with himself. The guy said that she was waiting for the sword so much so he couldn't frame the girl. Hiro decided to start making a sword for Hibana. The materials that the guy will use are special. He won't use mithril. If you make a really strong sword, then it just has good materials, and these are not metals. The guy opened the sheet slightly and said that he had supplies of materials. These were the fangs and skins of monsters that he used as fertilizer. They are similar in properties to metal, hard, sticky, and difficult to break. Just as they cast magic on their swords, monsters cast magic on their own weapons. Therefore, there is a very close connection with magical power. Although it is a very powerful weapon, this magical sword made from the body of a monster harms the wearer with its miasma. However, there are magic sword wielders who are strong enough to wield such a sword while being infected by the miasma. Hiro remembered that eliminating the miasma is the basis of alchemy. This crystal ball is an alchemical tool created to eliminate the miasma. The limit of this crystal ball with miasma has almost filled up. This ball is filled to the limit with miasma, so the guy decided to leave it for the future. Meanwhile, the preparations were completed. Then, this material from the monster, freed from the miasma, is crushed into pieces with a special hammer that he made with his own hands and melted down. The guy thought that if he tried to do this through ordinary forging, he would just need a huge furnace and special chemicals. Hiro decided that he was using 3 types of monsters now. 4 be its equation: a big bear, a hunting dog, and a golden eagle. They are all strong monsters, and every part of them needs to be melted and mixed. Thus, they will become one. Depending on the combination, the synergistic effect is enhanced. Thus, making a sword by combining monsters was suggested to him by the respondent. Therefore, he boasted that he could craft a sword equal to the sacred sword of the Kynar Principality. The guy also has knowledge that he has been collecting from the respondent for the past 2 years. The next step was to shape the sword with magic. What Hibana asked, the center of gravity, the length of the blade, and the appearance, will do all this without much effort. And after a while, the guy held a ready-made weapon in his hands and said that it was very beautiful. He can't even believe that he will be used for murder. Now Hiro has the last stage left. He needed to put runes on the blade, meaning cutting, to increase the power of the sword. And after that, Hiro used enchantment. This was the real alchemy. The magical power seeps into the material and strengthens its essence. The enchanted base is a cut. With the help of disappointment, the sword became stronger, strengthening its base. Hiro looked at the sword carefully and realized that he had done a great job. The guy was sure that Hibana would definitely be happy with this gift. Meanwhile, Hiro, in the Great Hall, announced to Hibana Clearford that he was knighting her. The girl was grateful to him. Hibana said that her sword belongs to Prince Hiro. All the people immediately began to applaud the end of the dedication ceremony. Hibana whispered to the guy and thanked him for making her the best sword. She had never seen such a beautiful and powerful sword. Hiro also replied in a whisper that she was not cheerful. The guy wondered what the girl didn't like. Hibana replied that no, not because of that. She was just a little nervous. The girl was afraid that people would say that she would not cope with her duties. Hiro laughed and replied that Hibana couldn't do it it was simply impossible. Hibana also laughed a little and thanked the guy. Hiro thought that it probably didn't matter to anyone that the third prince had such a knight serving. Hiro thought of Hibana as his granddaughter, and besides, she studied in the Principality of Culinary. As a knight, there is nothing to find fault with. In fact, all people see the real power of Hibana. Hiro was sure that there were definitely some people who thought they wanted Hibana to serve them. But unfortunately, this is not the case for them. The guy thought that Hibana was his girlfriend. They were bound by one promise. She was his partner, his strength. Hiro exhaled and thought that he could finally start moving. He has a lot of things to do with his comrades, but there are also 2 other players who want to act. After a while, Hibana turned to Hiro and thanked the guy for knighting her. The girl promised that she would keep his sword safe. But she also has something for the guy. Hiro was surprised to say that it was so unexpected for him. Hibana handed the guy a lamb and said it was for him. Hiro asked the girl what it was. Hibana said that this was his respondent. The guy said it looked like some kind of accessory. Hibana said that when he uses a respondent, he looks from the outside as if he is talking to himself. The girl felt a little sad about it. Hiro got a little angry and sarcastically apologized to the girl. Hibana said she thinks nothing will happen if he has someone for the respondent. And besides, he was very nice. The girl pretended that the lamb was greeting the guy and saying that he was his respondent. Hibana asked the guy that he was having fun. Hiro said that he would think about using it or not. The guy turned to Hibana and asked the girl what she was doing. Hibana replied that she was training. Hiro asked why the girl was doing it there. Hibana replied that there was nothing to be done. Since she is his knight, she should be by his side. Hiro replied to the girl that he could also show her how to lift logs. Hibana turned to the guy and said that the meaning of the promise to become his sword was to become the strongest of all. If she doesn't get stronger, it means she's a liar. Hibana said that she knows 8 other people who are stronger than her. She needs to catch up with them. After all, she uses all her free time for training. Hiro thought that Hibana was confident that she was stronger than 4 of the 12 knights of the Golden Order of the Principality of Culinary. It was enough for the guy that she was with him. They won't get the Bronze Knights, even if they save up money. Hiro was glad that he had Hibana. Hiro asked the girl how she liked her new sword. Hibana replied that he was beautiful. He's very strong. Hiro said that you can kill an opponent with a sword, only if they don't use a sacred or magical sword. You can also ignore a man with simple armor. Since Hibana is Hiro's knight, she needs such a sword. Looking at the girl, the guy was sure that she was coping. Hibana replied that, yes, of course. Hiro added that she might be able to practice today. This surprised the girl, and she asked the guy what he was talking about. Hiro asked the girl to prepare for departure. After all, they are leaving the castle. At that moment, a guy appeared near the door of Hiro's office. He asked Hiro where they were going. Hiro immediately thought that here he was. This was the second prince of the kingdom of Carterosa, Agatha Carterosa. Agatha turned to his brother and said that, as always, he was busy chasing popularity among the people. Being a prince, he makes new discoveries, hiding his identity, imitating the city doctor. Agatha was very interested in what he would do next time, because there are various rumors. Hiro thought about Agatha coming to check on what he was doing after he tried to distribute the wheat. The guy understood that he had to be more careful, but still he couldn't hide from Agatha. Hiro replied that he was not going to run for popularity. He just wants this kingdom to become rich. Agatha replied that he did not know. The guy thinks that his brother just wants to eliminate him and Takumu's brother and become king. Hiro replied that he was repeating that he didn't want it. The guy added that people understand different fields, and he thinks that Agatha will become king. Hiro said that depending on the situation, they need a strong king, and Takumu's older brother is brave and a good strategist. And the king cannot be Hiro himself with his incomplete talent. Hiro thought about how difficult it was for him to perform in front of people. Agatha thought about it and said that he believed him. This kingdom is held together by Molly and him. Hiro didn't even think that his brother would tell him that. But still, Agatha added that Hiro is jumping above his head. He's trying to hide what he's doing right now, but he's not going to be able to do it. Hiro asked his brother to stop talking nonsense, and they would get to the point. Hiro asked Agatha that he hadn't come to see him. To the hated younger brother. Agatha replied that he was still not cute. Agatha said that Takumu's brother asked me to tell him that Hiro is about to turn 14. As an adult, he must serve the imperial family by fighting monsters, so Hiro has to get ready. Agatha said that he saw that his brother had chosen a knight. It would be better if the whole squad chose, rather than one knight. Hiro asked Agatha that he was worried about him. But Agatha replied that no, it would be unbearable if he had to look after him. Hiro asked his brother not to worry because he is strong. Of course, not as strong as Takumu's brother. Agatha replied to Hiro that he was really the same. Agatha added that he has a girl in his comrades who does not even hide the thirst for murder. The guy came even closer to Hibana and asked if she wanted to join him. This question surprised the girl very much, and Hiro immediately understood what his brother wanted. Hiro thought that perhaps his brother needed a knight like Hibana, who had reached the bronze rank. Agatha told Hibana that he, unlike his brother, would be able to give her a better weapon. Hibana said that she refuses because he will be bored. Hibana hugged Hiro and said that she had decided to become his sword. Agatha replied that he was very sorry. A weirdo sees a weirdo from afar. He went to the exit of the hall and said that he understood them and went back. Finally, Agatha turned to Hiro and said that if he needed him in his plan, the guy could call him. Hiro thought about taking back his words. That's why he actually came there. Agatha told Hiro that he understood that when Takumu became king, all this would end. And for that to happen, they need to unite. Hiro was very serious, and he was thinking. The guy thought that in all likelihood, he wants to use it. He wants to stand above Takumu's brother in the succession. However, only he will be able to use his inventions effectively. Hiro can only make things. He needs the power of Agatha. Hiro turned to his brother and said that if he really wanted to help him, then his help would be useful. Agatha turned around and said that he was waiting for the right answer from his brother. When Agatha left, Hibana got angry. The girl screamed that he had so frivolously invited her to join him. The girl could never understand him. Hiro wondered if Hibana was still training or not. Hiro replied to the girl that his brother was sincere in their conversation. This surprised the girl, and she asked if he was telling the truth. Hiro replied that what he had suggested made enough sense not to be a lie. Hibana replied that he was a liar anyway. He always said bad things about Hiro. There is a gap between them brothers. The girl had never seen them be friends. Hiro thought it was true. It's not even clear if he's actually their blood relative. One day, his father brought him out of nowhere and told him that he was his son. Naturally, it is unpleasant for the brothers when he, a child of unknown origin, has the right to inherit the throne. Hibana asked the guy if it was true that he didn't want to become king. Hiro replied that yes, the position of prince suits him better because he can do whatever he wants. If Hiro becomes king, then he won't have time for alchemy. Therefore, he will blame everything on his brothers. Hibana said that she thought Hiro would become king. Hiro asked the girl that it was her wish, after all. Hibana replied that she had a very good intuition. Of course, she would like to be a knight of the king. After a while, Hiro turned to Hibana and said they could leave. Today, he would need the strength of the girl she was so proud of. When the guys arrived at the right place, Hibana asked Hiro that this was the Devil's Forest, wasn't it? A girl could really fight strong monsters in this place. Hibana was very excited about what awaits her, because she does not develop from simple training. Hiro replied to the girl that these were big words for a very dangerous place. The Devil's Forest is a place where monsters nest. The monsters that live there cause enormous damage to the territory. Even if you kill a monster, its corpse cannot be used in the future, so you will have to leave it in the forest. This is a heavy burden for the kingdom of Carterosa. Hibana asked the guy if such clothes would definitely suit them for their covert outing. The girl was somehow restless. Hiro asked the girl to calm down. He made these clothes with the help of alchemy. Hibana asked the guy that he could do this too with magic. Hiro said that he made it from the thread of an insect monster and enchanted it as well as his sword. These threads have a very high protection. They are similar in hardness to steel. Hibana was delighted and started poking at the guy with the weapon. The girl said she really didn't cut it. Hiro tensed up and he asked the girl why she checked it on him. After all, if it were simple clothes, he would have already died. Hibana replied that a person who gives incorrect information at life-threatening moments should die. The girl said that he hadn't died, so she didn't see any problem with that. Hiro replied that the girl had a very nice gift. The guy asked if she had been taught this in the Principality of Culinary. Hibana replied that you can only be strong there. Hiro thought that as her master, he should get rid of her bad habits, but it would not be easy. Hibana told the guy that he was her childhood friend. It was easy to talk to him. Hiro thought that this made him a little happy. Hibana asked the guy why they had come there. Hiro replied that he hadn't told her yet. They came there for 2 reasons. The guy said that, first of all, he wants to see for himself what resources are there. Hibana asked the guy that there were even ore deposits in this forest. Hiro replied that maybe he wants to find out what kind of monsters are there, because monsters are resources. Hiro asked the girl if she remembered that he used the corpses of monsters as fertilizer. The clothes they're wearing now, her sword, were made of monsters. The guy said that with the help of alchemy, he can use monsters. Monsters are the only resource their kingdom has at its disposal. Hibana replied to the guy that he was right about that. He wants to find out exactly what kind of monsters are there and what they can do. Hiro replied that yes, they were going deep into the forest for that. The guy told Hibana that if she was scared, she could run away. The monsters they had been fighting up to this time were weak, as they had lost a fight for territory. It cannot be compared to how much stronger the monsters are waiting for them deep in the forest. Hibana replied to the guy that she couldn't escape. Her blood was boiling. The girl was glad that she would finally be able to test her weapon in action. Hiro replied to the girl that she was very reliable. The guys were walking deep into the forest, and Hiro told the girl that they had reached the barricade. There would be dangerous monsters ahead. Hibana asked the guy what his second reason was. Hiro replied that whatever is being done to save this kingdom is important. At this moment, Prince Hiro is approached by a guard who asks the guy what he is doing there, because it is dangerous for them to go further. Hiro thanked him for his concern and asked the guard if he knew about his sword. The guard replied that yes, they knew about him. Hiro said that his knight is stronger than him, so they won't have any problems. Hiro asked the guard to let them through, as they had important business. The guards replied that as the prince ordered them. Finally, he asked Hiro not to overdo it. Hiro thanked the guards. When one of the guards asked the guy to be careful on his way, a strange sound was heard. Hibana was scared and asked what it was. Hiro realized who it was. The guy thought that they needed to talk sometime anyway. But the guy didn't want to meet him so early. At that moment, a man's voice was heard saying that he had returned, so they could open the gate. The guards opened a gate, and the first prince and his team appeared in front of the guys. They reported that everyone had returned safely. He was the first prince of the kingdom of Carterosa, Alish, Takumu, Carterosa. Takumu saw his younger brother in front of him and said that he did not expect to see him there. Hiro replied that he hadn't expected them to meet either. The guy asked his brother that he was going to kill monsters. Takumu replied that this is a battlefield. You can't be unprepared there. Hiro replied that then he might not come back. He came there prepared. Takumu replied to his brother that he could do whatever he wanted. He won't help Hiro. But still, Takumu asked his brother not to die on the battlefield. The guy looked at Hibana and said that if she was there, she definitely wouldn't die. Hiro replied to his brother that yes, his night was wonderful. Suddenly, Takumu told Hiro that he got along with Agate. Hiro wondered how he could have found out about it so quickly. It's only been a few hours. Hiro realized that it was all Agatha's brother. He specifically said that he was cooperating with him and distracted his brother's attention. Takumu said that he did not understand them. Takumu asked his brother not to do anything unnecessary. This kingdom shouldn't be rich until the right time comes. Hiro wondered if the neighboring country would attack them yet. At the moment, they are not being captured just because there is no value in their kingdom. They had a rich land and a much larger population. The kingdom has been captured by a neighboring country. The last remaining territory is adjacent to the Devil's Forest. If there is something valuable in this territory, then the belligerent neighboring countries will definitely take it away. Hiro told his brother that he was going to return the occupied lands at the appointed time, but they had two different military forces, and even if he returned this land, they would not be able to defend it. The guy understood that Takumu's brother wanted to return the land that provided most of the food. If those lands are returned, then food and population will increase, and most of the kingdom's problems will be solved. The problem is retribution after the return of the Earth. You can't win a head-on war with a country with a doubly large population. Hiro suggested that he most likely has a card that can win in the short term, rather than a completely doomed plan. Takumu replied to the guy that he was saving up his strength now, but he would definitely execute the plan, as long as they don't do anything unnecessary. Takumu said that if the enemy suddenly finds out and attacks before he makes a decision, then everything will be over. It was a warning. If they get in the way, Takumu won't look at the fact that they are his brothers. Only he can help the kingdom. Then there will be their work with Agate, where he will not be able to help in any way. The guy called them smart and strange guys, but they are necessary for the kingdom. That's why Takumu said he wouldn't kill them. Hiro and Hibana tensed and became alert. After a while, the guys went behind the barricades and headed deeper into the forest. Hiro exhaled and said that it was a serious warning. If Takumu does this often, he will definitely die. But still, the guy is not going to let go of his hands. Hiro remembered Takumu's words that the only way to make the kingdom rich was to win the war. The guy thought that, in some sense, it was right. Agate's brother knows what his brother Takumu is going to do, so he is on guard. There are few chances to beat neighboring countries, and they will not be able to continue winning. He knows and thinks that if he leaves everything to Takuma, they will die. That's why he offered to help someone he hated, even if he was going to stop the guy. Agatha and Takumu are going to save the kingdom in different ways. He wants to become a vassal of a strong country so that it protects them from neighboring countries. From Agatha's point of view, there is nothing to be done about the hindrance in the form of Takumu. It was ironic to Hiro that the two brothers were feuding with each other and trying to save the kingdom in their own way. Hiro thought that, despite this, their desires were the same. Hiro looked at Hibana, who was very tense. The girl was surprised to say that she realized at first glance that he was powerful, but it was a completely different matter when he was armed and on the battlefield. Hiro replied that he understood the girl. Takumu was the strongest man in the kingdom. Hibana said that maybe he could even defeat a knight from the Golden Order if they had the same weapons. Hiro replied that he knew his brother was strong, but not to that extent. Hiro added that if he was really going to kill him, then the guy thought Hibana would fight him. The guy asked the girl if she would win. Hibana replied that he would wait 3 minutes. Hiro replied that he understood her. They will avoid violent confrontation with their brother. Hibana said that if there was a collision, she would give him time to escape. Hiro thought that this was a hint of how he would die. The guy asked her not to talk like that anymore because he was very sad. The guy understood that if there's an opportunity to avoid conflict, then he wants to avoid it. He needs Agatha's brother to spread his inventions. He needs Takumu's brother and his army after the invention spreads and their kingdom becomes rich. Hiro wants to present his brother's army with a powerful weapon made by alchemy. The guy also wants to return the occupied lands. They will have a military force to take back and protect the lands. So the guy wants the power of Takumu and his army. Hiro thought his brothers were so wonderful, headstrong, and difficult to communicate with. Hibana told Hiro that the sun's rays almost do not reach there. The girl jumped on a rock and said that they had finally started looking for monsters. Hiro agreed with her. Hibana said that because of the appearance of Takumu's brother, they broke off on the same topic. The girl was wondering when Hiro would tell her about the second reason. Hiro replied that the second reason for this trip was salt. Hibana asked him what he was saying about the salt in the Devil's Forest and the Rocky Mine. Hiro replied that no, he thought there was a sea beyond the forest. It was drawn like this on the Great Alchemist's map. Hibana asked in surprise that there was a sea here. The girl said that if this map is true, then they can get as much sea salt as they want. There is only rock salt in the neighboring kingdoms, so they will be able to enter a new market. Hiro praised the girl for understanding everything so quickly. Hiro said that this is why they need to think not about whether there really is a sea, but about what exactly it is there, and how to make a safe road. It was very important for the guy. Hiro added that not only are there dangerous monsters in this forest, but the roads there are also terrible. This forest is dangerous even for ordinary soldiers, so he built a compass. Hiro added a magic arrow to this compass. He wants to combine the search with checking this compass. Hiro said that this compass determines the current location thanks to these two stones, which show the same direction. The compass does not work from a magnet, but from magic. Hiro said he was glad he was able to verify that the regular compass was not working. Hibana said she was calm then. She didn't want to think about trouble. She's afraid of monsters. The girl felt that something appeared near them. The girl said that as soon as they remember about the monster, it will appear. Hiro asked the girl what she had noticed. It was a great chance for them. Hiro asked the girl to watch his fight and not help him. Hibana replied that she understood him. Although she is his protector, she needs to know about the guy's abilities. Hiro started and said that he was converting gunpowder, and after that they were converting mithril. The guy used a red lotus explosive arrow. At the end, Hiro applied the magic transformation of the magic bow. Hibana was amazed that he made a bow out of mithril and an arrow out of gunpowder. But Hiro said that's not all. At this point, Hiro applied the analysis. The guy said that he also added magical vision to his own right eye. This spell gives an increase in the penetration of the eye. If you invest magic, you can get the ability to predict and see through the creature. After that, the guy applied an X-ray. The guy thought that the structure of the monster's muscles, the center of gravity. He sees the following movements. Hiro decided that he needed to add some wind. Hiro took aim and shot the monster with an arrow from a bow. When the arrow hit the monster, it jumped off the spot and rushed towards the guy. But the guy realized where he needed to aim, so he could easily blow up the monster. This surprised Hibana very much, and the girl asked that Hiro had predicted where the monster would jump and blew it up. Hiro replied that he had sealed the magic power, and in one blow, that power reacted to the gunpowder. It was a very tenacious monster. If the guy hadn't done it, then they wouldn't have had a chance to win. At that moment, Hiro heard the sounds of monsters. He pointed his weapon in the direction of the sounds and asked who he had next. Hibana asked the guy in surprise that he was using a spear. That means he's not a swordsman. Hiro replied that he was an alchemist. He can use everything he has made himself. The bow is for long range, the spear is for medium range, and the sword is for short range. If they get too close, there is a knife, a shield for protection, and Hiro uses a hammer for a strong blow. Suddenly, a lot of warriors headed towards the guys. The guy used a mithril magic transformation. This allowed the guy to destroy the monsters. Hibana watched the guy fight and said it was very cool. Immediately, the girl got angry and said that it was against the rules to have such a weapon that could change. Hiro replied that it was just a weapon that suited him. If a guy has only one type of weapon, then he will not get far from Hibana's sword, and then he will become a burden. But Hiro is also good with the sword itself. Hibana replied to the guy that she understood everything. Nevertheless, the girl pushed the guy out of the way and decided to demonstrate her abilities to him. A huge monster bear appeared right in front of Hibana. The girl struck at the monster, which caused the bear to lose its paw. After that, Hibana began to chop off the legs of the monster, and at the last moment she managed to chop off the bear's head. Hibana told Hiro that the fact that she could now cut off the limbs of a monster with one blow was very cool. Hiro replied to the girl that they just had different concepts of values, but it still wasn't bad. Hibana laughed and thanked Hiro. The guy thought that he didn't even have time to breathe, and yet Hibana has a beautiful sword technique. Hori asked Hibana about the fact that all the monsters in the Culinary Principality are the same as her. Hibana replied that she had already told him that they had 8 more people who were stronger than her. Hiro said that nevertheless, they are a threat to them. Hibana asked the guy if he really thought that. They are not at enmity with them. Hiro replied that this was the case now. The kingdom of Carterosa today is of no interest to them. But when he enriches this kingdom, it will be a completely different conversation. They can destroy Carterosa while she is weak and take away all his inventions. Hiro was sure that this was why strengthening the kingdom was as important as enriching it. That's why he wants a landmark. Such a strong kingdom that can defeat the Culinary Principality. If they can become like that, then they won't lose to anyone. Hibana replied to the guy that she expected exactly this from the prince, that he thinks about such things. The girl asked Hiro that maybe they would take these claws. They are so sharp. Hiro replied that he had a special miasma bag for this occasion. If he hadn't been there, then these miasmas could have killed him. Hibana asked the guy if they should process them. The guy replied that in order to do this, they needed magic, and he wants to save it for more necessary things in this forest. Hibana said that in short, he couldn't do it. The girl put everything in a bag and said they could go on. Hiro thought that Hibana was too strong, because the weight of one claw was 3 kilograms, only 30 kilograms. Hiro told the girl that he hadn't finished exploring this forest yet. Hibana said she wanted them to meet a stronger monster. Hiro asked the girl if she knew that the bear was called the Blade Bear. They say that everyone who meets him will die. It has a danger rank of A. It is an extremely dangerous monster. Hibana replied that she was much stronger than him. Hiro agreed with the girl and said that she was a very reliable knight. The guy thought that as long as Hibana was next to him, they definitely wouldn't be able to kill him. After a while, the guys found the sea. Hibana happily said that she could smell the salty smell and hear the sound of waves. They really got to the sea. Hiro was also happy about this and thought that if they could bring salt from there, they could earn money from neighboring countries. Hiro said it took half a day to go there, and it was worth it. He asked Hibana how much more she could carry. The girl replied that she was currently carrying about 50 kilograms of material, so she could still carry 50 kilograms. The girl said that she can carry enough so that she can save Hiro, so she can't load herself too much. Hiro replied that then they would take 100 kilograms of salt with them, and the guy himself would carry half of it. Hibana replied to Hiro that he didn't have to take it all at once. The fact that they found the sea is already a good thing. Hiro replied that no, if they took 100 kilograms of salt with them, it would be a good gift for the kingdom. The annual salt intake per person is about 1.5 kilograms. 1,000 people need only 1.5 tons of salt, so if they bring 100 kilograms of salt 15 times, they will be able to replenish the kingdom's annual supply of salt. Hiro added that in order to have fewer problems, he is a little reckless. Hiro hoped that they would be able to collect the salt before the end of the day. When the guys went down closer to the sea, Hiro told the girl that they could start making salt. Hibana asked the guy if she could help him in any way. Hiro replied that she would be able to help him later. Suddenly the girl undressed and ran towards the sea. Hibana said that then she would go fishing while waiting for Hiro because she was very hungry. Hiro stood in disbelief. The guide tensed up and thought about how she was not ashamed. At that moment, a joyful Hibana said that she had caught a fish. Hiro thought she was very fast. The guy remembered that there is a sea near the Principality of Culinary. Hibana got out of the water and asked Hiro if he would go swimming, because the water in the sea is great. Hiro replied that he would bathe after he had done what he had come there for. Hiro held up 2 hands, one of which held his respondent. At that moment, the waves of the sea rose in different directions, and the guy said that he had made a glass pool out of sand. Hibana was surprised, and she asked Hiro how many days they would have spent if they had done the pool the usual way. Hiro replied to the girl that it was too early for her to be surprised. Hiro told me that he would make a hose out of the intestines. Hibana admitted that she was not very pleased to look at it. After that, Hiro decided to fill up the pool. They need the hose to be completely in the water. Hibana saw that water was coming out of the hose, and the girl asked that it was also magic. Hiro replied that no, it was science. It's all about the principles of the siphon. The water comes from the sea with a high water level to the pool with a low level. Hiro then converts seawater into salt. Hibana asked the guy that it was all alchemy, and isn't a lot of energy being spent on this? Hiro replied that they couldn't wait for the water to dry up. Therefore, there is nothing to be done. Hibana was glad that they finally had salt. It was very cool for her. But still, the girl asked why Hiro was adding water to it again. Hibana replied that the salt content in seawater was 40%. The guy knows how much water needs to be poured to fill the pool completely. Hiro thought he had studied this in social studies class. Hiro said that therefore it would be more efficient to collect salt by increasing its concentration and quantity. Hiro continued to work. He put a lot of effort into it. As Hiro thought, it's difficult to release so much magic so many times. Suddenly, Hiro felt something touch his forehead. It was Hibana who put a handkerchief to the guy's forehead. The girl offered the guy a drink of water, and the guy felt much better. Hibana asked Hiro not to strain himself so much. If it gets hard for him, he should rest. She also fried fish for them. Hiro replied that he was fine and he would be done very soon. The guy noticed that if they don't put it together now, then all efficiency will disappear. Hiro asked Hibana to help him collect the salt. The girl agreed. The guy said that this bag is also made thanks to alchemy. It can stretch a lot. The guys began to work together to extract salt. Hibana asked the guy that salt is so easy to get. Hiro replied that if they did everything themselves without alchemy, they would need a week. Hibana asked the guy how much training it takes to increase magic power like that, because it's against the rules. Hiro replied that he was born with so much magic. The guy thought that he had an amazing amount of magical power since birth. It was just a miracle for the guy that he had so much magic and a respondent. The more magic the respondent pours in, the more information can be obtained. Hiro is the only one who can use it to its full potential. Hibana said she was jealous of him. The girl asked why he didn't gather all his magic. Hiro replied that they would be returning through the Devil's Forest, and the guy thought that his magic might be missing. So he apologized, because they would have to work with their hands. Hibana replied that she understood them. It will also be a good workout to carry bags and walk through the forest. Hiro thought she was incredible. As always, Hibana put on a shirt and said that she had recently heard something that the prince of some country, together with a peasant, had arranged new paths. Hibana said it was some kind of strange person. Hibana added that when she heard this, she thought, "Ugh, what a great guy he is. Maybe she can do this." The girl said that training the body and at the same time helping people is just super. Hiro replied that he was embarrassed that it had even reached Hibana, and at the same time he was glad. Hiro told the girl that then he would glorify her as a heroine. Hibana replied that she was just helping him. Hiro replied that he didn't. He knew that there was a sea in this place and that salt could be made. But he did nothing. The guy admitted that he couldn't walk through the Devil's Forest alone, but Hibana went with him, and now they can give people salt. That's why the guy was grateful to Hibana. Hibana replied that Hiro embarrassed her, but she was very happy. The guy shook hands, and the girl said that she was glad that she had become a knight of Hiro, so that guy can actually save this kingdom. Hiro replied to the girl that in that case, they could go back and take the salt to the people. The girl asked the guy not to forget to eat fish. As the boys approached the exit from the forest, Hibana said that she saw the light of the barricades. Hiro told the girl that he could see that she still had a lot of strength. Hibana replied that they walked until nightfall. She was already very tired. Hiro told Hibana that even in the moonlight, she could walk. The girl asked Hiro that he also trained his eyesight. The guy replied that no, he uses magic vision. Hibana admitted that this is a very convenient ability. Hibana said that they hardly encountered any monsters on the way back. Hiro replied that it was because he used these perfumes. Hibana asked the guy that it was his new invention. The girl couldn't understand why the smell of sweat had disappeared from them. Hiro said that this is the most hated smell for monsters. It was a trial sample, but the results of its use are already there. Hibana asked that if they used it to travel, wouldn't it be much easier for them? The guy replied that there are 11 kinds of monsters living in the forest now. These spirits will not work on 3 types. There are monsters there for whom this smell is not disgusting and who have no sense of smell. He learned a lot from this. Hiro also said that he wants ordinary soldiers to be able to safely pass through this forest using spirits. And the guy wants that to be the purpose of the check, too. The guy also said that he found out about monsters, tested the compass, found the sea, made salt, and checked the perfume. Hiro had a really hard day today. Suddenly, Hiro said no. Perhaps the most interesting thing would begin now. Hibana didn't understand what the guy meant, so she asked what he was talking about. At that moment, the guards looked out from behind the barricade and tried to shout at Prince Hiro. The guard told the guys that they were very worried. Hiro said that they had finally returned to the kingdom. The guy said that they were completely fine, so the guard could calm down. Hiro apologized to the guard for addressing them at such a late hour, but he urgently needed to go to the castle. The guy thought that his brothers were definitely awake at this time. Hiro understood that the man who wanted to save this country couldn't wait until tomorrow. Hiro turned to the guard and asked him to tell Takuma and Agatha that he had salt. It was late at night when 2 bags of salt were brought to the brothers' table. Agatha and Takumu stood waiting for their younger brother, Hiro. After a while, Hiro and Hibana came to the hall, and the guy greeted his brothers. Agatha told Hiro that he had called them all together, but he came very late. Hiro replied that it was all because of the dirt. They were changing clothes. Agatha asked his brother if salt had anything to do with it. Hiro realized that his brothers were worried that he had found salt. Everyone had their own dream there. The first Prince Takumu Carterosa is well versed in military affairs. He is the strongest man in the kingdom. Saving the kingdom by force is his goal. He wants to return the rich land stolen by neighboring kingdoms and the people living on it. The second Prince Agatha Carterosa is very smart and calculating. His goal is to save the kingdom through diplomacy. He wants the kingdom to become a vassal of another powerful country, and Hiro himself is just as good as his brothers. The position of the third prince as a backup brother. Up to this point, he could do whatever he wanted, but the guy decided to grab the chance to give salt to the people. That's why Hiro was fighting for his dream today. Takumu decided to ask Hiro directly where he got the salt from. Hiro told me that there is a sea beyond the Devil's Forest, where he built a pool and evaporated salt. Takumu asked Hiro if he was telling him the truth. The guy replied that so many people died because of salt. Because of the salt, they are commanded by neighboring countries. They sell treasures to buy salt. If they don't have enough, they get rid of food. That's why their people are starving to death. The kingdom is in dire need of salt. Lying about salt is nothing but a mockery of those who shed tears. Hiro replied that he wasn't rotten enough to lie about salt. Takumu thought about it and replied to the guy that he understood everything. Unexpectedly for Hiro, Takumu praised his younger brother for such an act. Hiro thought about how Takumu's brother had praised him. For a man who set his sights on becoming the next king, acknowledging his achievements was a bad move. The guy understood that this was not what he expected, but now was the time when the guy could ask his brother. Hiro turned to Takumu and told him that the guy had a request. The guy told his older brother that together with Hibana, they can go through the Devil's Forest, but no one else can do it. If something happens to them, they won't be able to deliver the salt, and they just absolutely cannot stay without her. That's why Hiro decided to ask Takuma to give them his army. Takumu thought about it and replied to his brother that, of course, he could help him. The guy promised that tomorrow he would select his best fighters, and then they would go to the Devil's Forest. Takumu decided that he would go too, so he would see them off. Hiro tensed for a moment and thought about it. Next, the guy was delighted and replied to his brother that, of course, they can all go to the sea together, and he will show you how to make salt. Hiro let out a sigh of relief and thought that he could count on the soldiers trained personally by his brother. For a guy, this request came very easily. Hiro thought it was a good thing he hadn't been asked about any of this. At that moment, Agatha asked his brothers to wait. He asked Takumu and Hiro that they were not themselves. The guy reminded the brothers that this was a devil's forest, in which it was very easy to get lost. He asked if the brothers understood what would happen if they were attacked by dangerous monsters. Their kingdom is on the brink. They can't let their soldiers die in vain. Hiro looked at Agate and thought that unlike Takumu's reaction, he could easily understand this. Hiro has achieved great results. Takumu wants to organize a stable supply of salt, but Agatha is not interested in this. But Hiro was sure that he needed to be convinced, otherwise there would be a lot of problems. Hiro turned to Agate and asked him to calm down. For this, he created magical devices The guy told the brothers that he had a magic compass in his hands, which is able to find the way back, so they definitely won't get lost with it. And if you use this perfume, then 3 types of monsters out of 11 will not approach them. Hiro also shared that the best squads will probably handle the remaining 3 species. He has prepared information about monsters and their weaknesses. Hibana showed the guys a piece of information. Hiro admitted that he doesn't know what to do with the new types of monsters. There is nothing he can do about it yet. Takumu turned to Agate and said that he agreed with Hiro. He saw with his own eyes that the younger brother and his knight had walked all this way together. They confirmed the operability of compasses and spirits. And besides, Takumu decided to ask Agate if his army couldn't do what Hiro could do. Takumu told the middle brother that if he meant it, he would take it as an insult. It made the guy think. Agata told Takumu that they had absolutely no guarantees that Hiro was telling them the truth. This angered Takuma, and the guy asked Agate to look at such a huge amount of salt. He asked the middle brother that he was still in doubt. There's definitely a sea beyond that devil's forest. So Takuma was confident that they would be able to save their subjects. Agatha thought about it again and replied that, okay. Then he agreed. Agatha said he knows that getting salt is a high priority. The guy asked Hiro how he knew that there was a sea beyond the forest. Agatha said he couldn't go to such a dangerous place without being sure. The guy asked Hiro that he had explored everything since he found the sea. He must have reason to be so sure. Moreover, the guy was wondering how Hiro was able to create so much salt in one day, and why he made tools for traveling through the forest. Agata admitted that Hiro was incredible and frightening, and it was already too much. Agatha asked his younger brother to explain himself. Otherwise, he would not believe him in any case. Suddenly, Takumu told Hiro that this time he agreed with Agate, so Hiro has to tell them everything. Hiro thought about how best to explain the situation to his brothers. The guy told the guys that there were a lot of people there to talk to. Hiro was referring to the guards who stood along the guys. Hiro set conditions for the brothers to release the guards. That's the only way he'll talk. The guys fulfilled the conditions of the younger brother, and all the guards were put outside the hall. The brothers were preparing for a serious conversation, and Hiro was wondering where to start. The guy couldn't collect his thoughts. Hiro thought that even though the guards were standing outside the door, he still felt uneasy. Hiro sighed heavily and realized that he couldn't avoid this conversation. The guy thought that one day, when his father told Hiro that he was adopted, the guy was wondering if Agatha and Takuma perceived him as a younger brother. Hiro was very afraid of the power they show. And not only that, he and his brothers have a different understanding of saving their kingdom, and they all understand it. The guy thought that even though they were all brothers, they were enemies to each other. Hiro understood that in order for his wish to come true, he needed the strength of these two. It would be a mistake to hide your strength from them, which may still be needed. Therefore, the guy decided to reveal his secret to Agate and Takumu. Hiro thought that the brothers wanted to save the kingdom. If they are confident that his help will save the kingdom, then he will definitely support them. The guy believed that the brothers had a love for their kingdom. It is for this reason that Hiro must convince them that this power will help them all. Hiro tuned in to the conversation and looked at the brothers. Hiro revealed that he had received the legacy of an alchemist and mastered alchemy. He also created tools by alchemy. The guy learned about the sea from the map that was in this inheritance. Takumu and Agata thought about what Hiro had just told them. The guy thought that at the moment they could easily expel him from the kingdom. Hiro was very interested in what they would do. Takumu turned to his younger brother and asked if he understood that alchemy was forbidden by the church. Agatha scared his brother that he would not get off with just death. Hiro replied that he would save the kingdom with alchemy anyway. Hiro convinced his older brothers that if they didn't do something, their kingdom would perish. Agatha and Takumu looked at the guy and tried to understand his thoughts. Hiro told the brothers that they should understand this. Individually, they are fighting a battle with no chance of victory. Takumu asked his younger brother what he was saying, that they had no chance of winning. They can't ignore it. Hiro asked Takumu that he also wanted to gather soldiers with magic weapons and attack neighboring countries. Takumu replied that he understood that too. The guy found his younger brother very observant. Hiro explained that this would be followed by a terrifying rupture of forces and cruel retribution. This made Takuma think. Hiro turned to Agate and asked the guy if he would ask other strong countries for protection, which means that he wants to save the country by selling it. Agatha replied that he had found out everything about him. Agatha said that yes, there was no other way to save their kingdoms but this one, It's better than what this idiot jock is offering. Takumu was confused by this. Hiro replied to Agatha that he didn't think it would make any difference. The kingdom has already given up its sister, and thus extended its existence. Hiro asked Ege what he proposed to do in order for them to escape. They don't have anything. That's what it means to belong to someone. Agatha replied to his brother that diplomacy was needed to prevent this from happening. Hiro told Agatha that he might be able to handle this task, but the guy himself sees the limit. Hiro noted that all Agatha does is prolong their kingdom's life. They can't save the kingdom that way. So Hiro proudly announced that he was abandoning their plans. Takumu and Nagata immediately looked to Hiro. Agatha asked Hiro that if he refuses, then how is he going to save them with alchemy? Hiro thought that since he had rejected their ideas, he needed to be shown another way out. Hiro replied that yes, they actually got that much salt. But that wasn't all. Hiro gestured to Hibana for the girl to do as they agreed, and the guy told the brothers that now he would show them the power of alchemy. Hibana went out into the hallway and told the mysterious guest to come in. All the guards immediately looked at the girl who came to the open doors and stopped there. The girl had something wrapped in a handkerchief in her hands. Agatha and Takumu looked at the girl carefully to figure out who she was. One of the guards turned to Takumu and asked him what they should do with this girl. Takumu replied to let them through. The girl went into the hall and carefully put her bundle on the table. The next moment, the girl lifted the blanket, and there the guy saw several loaves of bread. Takumu asked Hiro in disbelief that he had brought them white bread. The older brother immediately began to panic, and he asked Hiro how they were able to grow wheat in Carterosa. Agatha was also very surprised, and the guy said that it just couldn't be. The guy was sure that Hiro had definitely bought him, and decided to deceive them all. Hiro told the guys that this is the power of alchemy, because bread was baked from wheat grown in their kingdom. Hibana escorted the girl out and thanked her for helping them. Hiro told the brothers that the monster's body makes good fertilizer. And besides, this wheat withstands cold and disease and grows in 3 months. If the brothers don't believe him, then Hiro suggested that they go to the fields and see for themselves. Hiro added that he couldn't do that with alchemy. Hiro invited his brothers to try the spread. The guy promised that he didn't put anything in there, because it's made only from wheat. Takumu and Nagata were not afraid and decided to try the bread. Takumu was the first to take a bite of bread. Steam immediately came out of it, as it was still hot. The guy said it was very tasty. Takumu shared that he did not think that there could be such delicious bread in their kingdom. Hiro told the brothers that wheat not only grows easily, but also tastes good. The next one tried Agatha and said that this bread is much tastier than in other countries. The guys were very surprised that alchemy was capable of such a thing. Hiro told the guys that alchemy not only makes people's lives richer. The guy turned to Hibana again and asked her to hand Takuma the sword. Hibana agreed with the guy, but she asked Takuma to return it to the girl. The guy picked up the sword, and his face was filled with surprise. The guy asked Hiro that it was a sword that had no miasma in it. This sword cannot be compared to their swords. It is much stronger. Hiro replied that he had heard what he expected. Takumu understood everything the first time. The guy reminded his brothers that alchemy helped him do all this. He can remove all the miasma from the magic swords of the Takumu squad. Suddenly, Hiro immediately corrected himself and said that he would make their swords even better, which would definitely surpass all the others. Hiro decided to say once again that he refuses Takumu's idea of a war and Agat's idea of a colony. The guy decided to make this kingdom rich thanks to alchemy. They already have salt, wheat, swords. He promised to show them a rich kingdom that would be able to defend itself from other countries. The guy promised that thanks to all this, they would be able to protect themselves. And the guy wants not only to protect, their subjects have suffered enough. They also have the right to be happy. The guy is not satisfied only with the elimination of the city. Hiro stated that his goal is to make the kingdom prosperous. Takumu and Agata froze and looked at the guy in surprise. Suddenly, the guys started laughing a lot at Hiro. Takumu said that he was just fine. The guys couldn't stop laughing. Takumu said through laughter what he would do to his knights by giving his lives would be much worse than his younger brother's alchemy. Agatha supported him and said that they would just sacrifice their lives for nothing. Hiro didn't understand why his brothers were laughing. Agatha said that Hiro was right. What they were trying to do was just a postponement. They would not have been able to achieve the prosperity of the kingdom. Agatha said that they understood this deep in their hearts, but they did not want to give up in any way. The guy admitted that the way Hiro wants to save the kingdom is strange. Agatha should be happy that the kingdom will be saved. But at the same time, he feels bitter. Hiro thought that even though he was laughing, it was obvious from the guy that he was sad. Hiro replied to the guys that he revealed his secret because he saw how they wanted to save the kingdom. The formula is different, but the meaning is the same. Therefore, Hiro asked the brothers not to tell him that he could handle it alone or that everything they had done before was pointless. So the guy had a request for the guys. He asked his brothers to help him. Hiro promised that he could make this country rich. He can't command everyone and fight like Takumu. Hiro will also not be able to inspire people and negotiate with neighboring countries like Agatha. Alchemy can only do convenient things, but it won't work that way. If used correctly, nothing will work. So the guy needs the strength of his brothers. Agatha and Takumu thought about it. Takumu clarified that Hiro says he wants to use them. Agatha called the guy a stupid brother. He asked Hiro if he really thought they would just follow him. Hiro replied that no, he meant for them to use him. Hiro confessed that he believes in his brothers, in their strength and intelligence. If they all unite, they can save their kingdom. Hiro will be able to work in the shadows, but he needs his brothers to be with him. Hiro added that they will decide for themselves who will become the next king. Agatha and Takumu looked at each other and thought about it. Takumu turned to Hiro and said that's what he really meant. The guy said there was nothing he could do. If his younger brother says that, then he cannot, like a child, remain silent. Takumu's army is with Hiro, and the guy himself will act as a general, not as a prince. Agata also told Hiro that he would help him, even if he loses to his younger brother in abilities, or he just accidentally received the legacy of an alchemist. The guy did not want to follow him. But if their ship is sinking, then Agata confessed that he has no choice but to help Hiro. Agatha told his younger brother that he would help him in his goal and become a minister. Hiro was very surprised by this, and he asked the brothers what they meant. Takumu asked Hiro what he hadn't figured out yet. The elder brother declared that he was abdicating the throne in his favor. Agatha also supported him and said that it would be better for the kingdom. Simply put, they recognize Hiro. The brothers will keep quiet about alchemy as long as Hiro believes in himself. He will be able to save the kingdom, and Agatha and Takumu promised to help him in this. Takumu and Agata said that his brothers were like that. They asked Hiro if he believed them. Hiro thought for a second, but then he tensed up a lot. The guy thought that if he asked them to tell the truth, they would take it as an insult. Therefore, Hiro turned to his older brothers and asked them to help him. The guys said that of course they would help him, so he could rely on them. Hiro thought about how this was the first time the three princes of Carterosa had joined forces. At that moment, Hibana was happy with the outcome of the event, and the girl said that everything went very well. Hiro understood that all this was exactly the beginning, but not the salvation of the kingdom of Carterosa, but its prosperity. The guy was absolutely sure that teaming up with his older brothers, nothing was impossible for them. Hiro had such confidence. The next day, the guys went to the Devil's Forest. Hiro stretched inside heavily, and Hibana noticed it. The girl asked the guy that he was tired of negotiating with his brothers yesterday. Hiro laughed a little and said that he didn't really like it. At that moment, Hiro heard someone ask if he was walking the right way. He was told that yes, they needed to mow in that direction. One of the guards looked at the map and said that they still had 50 meters to spray, and they could finish. One of the guards complained that there was an unpleasant smell. Hiro looked at the guys and said it was very good that they all joined together. The guy said that he couldn't do things like negotiating with other countries, paying attention to domestic politics. But Hibana thought that she thought Hiro would definitely be able to do all this. Hiro added that he can confidently entrust the brothers with cases in which they are strong. But there is one problem. Due to the fact that the brothers renounced the throne, he automatically becomes the next king. Agatha took on the usual job, but there is still a job where only the king is needed. The guy thought it was unfair. Hibana said that yesterday was cool, as you would expect from a prince. The girl immediately corrected herself and said that no, she should now call him king. But Hiro didn't agree with her, so he asked the girl to call him by his first name, because that's what he wants. Hibana replied to the guy that it was fine. She would do so. The girl said that since she returned, she had never seen the king. Hiro replied that his father was ill now. He'd been in a coma for many years. Hibana saw that Hiro was sitting down and she asked the guy what he was doing. Hiro replied that he was exploring the earth. Hiro also said that Takumu was supposed to temporarily perform the duties of the king, but since his older brothers refused the throne, Hiro himself will now perform his duties. Since there is a possibility that the father will wake up, you cannot arbitrarily choose a king. So, one of the reasons for instability in the kingdom is the regency. Hibana replied that she understood everything. The girl wished the prince good luck. Hibana asked the girl to stop talking like a stranger. Hiro reminded the girl that if he was too busy, then so was she. Depending on further events, an assassin may be sent. Hibana agreed with the guy and said that they need to train more and become stronger. She doesn't know what to do with a sparring partner. She trains alone, she won't be able to jump above her own head. Hibana asked the guy if he knew anyone strong. Hiro replied that they could ask Takuma. He is now also looking for a sparring partner. Hibana replied that she was very lucky. Hibana asked Hiro that if he used alchemy, he would win. Hiro replied that if you use a good weapon with a magical transformation, your brother will break it anyway. The guy said that Takumu is unusual, strong, and skilled. Hiro thinks Hibana is no match for him. Hibana said he said it so bluntly. Hiro awkwardly apologized to the girl. Hiro said that Takumu is a military genius. He is good at military strategy, but most importantly in his personal combat assistance. When there was a skirmish with a neighboring country, Hiro noticed a 5-fold difference in strength. Hibana told Hiro that when he says she's no match for him, the girl can't even challenge him. Hiro replied to Hibana that she had changed after all. At that moment, one of the warriors said that Hiro and Hibana were good friends. Hibana replied to the guy that she had one more question. The girl asked who baked that bread. The girl knew that wheat was cool, but she couldn't even imagine making such delicious bread from it. Hibana ate almost everything. Hiro replied that it was done by a secret employee. The guy promised Hibana to introduce her soon. Suddenly Hibana got angry and said it sounded suspicious. Hiro immediately replied that there was nothing between them. At that moment, Takumu came up to the guys and called out to Hiro. The guy asked his younger brother if they had lost their way. Hiro replied that judging by the compass they were heading in the right direction. Hibana thought that it was not Takumu who approached them, but a bear. Meanwhile, the warriors were actively working. Someone asked his comrades to handle the tents more carefully, and someone asked for water to refresh themselves. Hiro told his brother that he thought they were only at sea today. They'll look at it and come back. And the guys brought big bags with them. Takumu replied to the guy that they would set up camp near the sea, because it takes strength and time to make salt. Takumu added that it's not just about the knights. He's going to recruit people for the convoy. Hiro replied that it was a good idea. There are about 50 unemployed knights in the kingdom. The remaining knights are working on the royal fields. They don't have time for training. Instead of sending valuable specialized knights to mine salt, it will be more effective to build a base and accompany real miners at sea. Takumu asked Hiro if he could build a road with his strength. Hiro replied that there were too many trees and grass and it was so difficult for them to walk. And there are countless blind spots. Because you need to defend yourself strenuously. Takumu said that building a road in the Devil's Forest is a difficult task. It wasn't even clear to the guy how many years it would take them to do all this. Hiro agreed with his brother. The guy decided to think about it and said that they would need the road not only for transporting salt. People will need good food, and someday they will need to build a port for fishing. Takumu agreed with his brother. Hiro said that based on this, the road is vital. A road that can be used by large wagons. With the ship's cargo, it would be good to make it safe. Hiro said that in order to build a road, they need to fight off monsters, cut down trees, and prepare sections for the road. It's about 20 kilometers away. Hiro wondered how much strength he would need to work without getting tired. There was no end in sight for the guy, and it was too dangerous. Suddenly, Hiro began to think that, let's say they were wrong. But why did they have to go through the dangerous Devil's Forest? They just want to build a road to the sea. Takumu said that Hiro was saying something incomprehensible again. Hibana replied that she was already used to it. Hiro came up with his plan and told Takumu to rely on him. The guy promised to do something before the beginning of winter. Takumu replied that they had only 3 months left. The older brother was wondering if he would make it. Hiro replied that yes, he would do everything in time and could promise it. Hibana frowned slightly and said that she had a bad feeling. He's obviously up to something. After a while, Hiro brought Takuma and his knights to the sea. Everyone was shocked that they saw the real sea. Takumu also joined them, and Hiro said that the sun had already started to set. They'd been walking there for a long time because of the large number of people. But it was still very beautiful there. Hibana said it was great that they would not spend the night in the Devil's Forest. That's what the best knights mean. The knights shouted that they were seeing this for the first time. It really smelled like salt. They were wondering if it was possible to swim in the sea. The guys were watching them, and Hiro asked Hibana that these were the best knights, wasn't it? The girl replied that they were behaving like small children. Takumu said that after the knights set up camp, they could be free. The knights accepted the order. One of the knights asked if the sea fish was delicious. Hiro told him that it was very tasty. He can't forget the taste of Hibana's gift. The guards began to build a camp, and the guys watched them. Hibana said that they are very cheerfully setting up tents. Hiro replied that they were so excited about the sea. Takumu turned to his brother and the girl and asked them to go fishing with him. The guy asked the guys that they didn't really want to eat canned food. They have the sea, so they can have a delicious meal. The guys agreed, and they all went fishing in the place. The first one caught the fish was Hiro, who was very happy about it. The guy said that there were no people there and she was careless, which is why she is so easily caught. So they're going to have a great dinner tonight. Hibana asked the guy if they could eat this fish. Hiro replied that if they didn't extract the poison, they wouldn't be allowed to eat it. He will dispose of it later. Takumu said that if the fish has a weak poison, then he doesn't mind eating it at all. The guy asked his brother what kind of training he had. Hiro said they have such simple baits but the fish bite anyway. The guy had a lot of fun. Takumu turned to Hiro and said that he had abdicated the throne in his favor. But it seems to the guy that not all of his subordinates have accepted this yet. Hiro replied that yes, everyone admired his strength. They never thought that they would obey the younger prince. Takumu replied that there was nothing he could do about it. The soldiers won't hear the words. They need to show strength. Hiro replied that yes, he was right about that. The guy asked his brother what he needed to do in this case. He shouldn't challenge Takuma to a duel. But Takuma replied that it was a good idea. Hiro thought that he would never see a prosperous kingdom like this. Takumu asked Hiro if he could win. Hiro immediately said that it was simply impossible. Hiro thought it was definitely a bad idea. Takumu replied that yes, he was right. Even if they conspire, they will be exposed immediately. The guy has already trained them. Takumu added that he has an offer for his brother. Personal knights can fight in royal duels. The guy pointed at Hibana and said that she could beat him. Takumu said that the power of a personal knight is the power of a king. Hibana replied that she was weaker than them. Takumu replied that yes, that's for sure. Therefore, he will train her. This surprised the girl very much, and she asked the guy what he was saying. Takumu replied that he was going to do it anyway. They need Hiro, who can handle everything. Hibana replied that his personal knight couldn't be weak. It would be nice to train with Takumu and surpass him. Takumu agreed with the girl. Takumu asked the girl if she was sorry about this. Hibana replied that no, she had no right to regret. They have such a difference in strength. The girl admitted that she was rather glad. She will definitely become stronger. Takumu said that the girl answered well. But it will take time to become stronger. He can't wait. Takumu stated that the fight would be in a week. And if Hibana fails, then Hiro will help with weapons made by alchemy. Takumu was sure that the two of them could defeat him, and Hiro would be accepted as a strong king. Hiro and Hibana exchanged glances with each other, and the guy told his older brother that he accepted his decision. The guy turned to his knight and asked what she would say. Hibana replied that he could rely on her. Takumu replied that they had decided everything then. The guy still has something to say. It will be a test for Hiro. Takumu recalled that his brother had said that he would make the kingdom stronger with alchemy. But if he doesn't show that this girl can beat him, then the guy won't believe in his alchemy. Takumu asked his brother to remember this. Hiro agreed with the guy and noticed that Hiro had said the right thing. Hiro promised that he would do everything and show him. At that moment, a guard approached the guys and addressed Takumu. He said they had finished laying out the tents so they could start cooking dinner. Takumu replied that it was good, and he would approach them now because he had a big catch. Hiro turned to Hibana and said that he had previously told her that it would be enough to hold out against her brother for 3 minutes. That is, they have zero chance of winning. All they have to do is buy time. The girl agreed with the guy. Hiro said that Hibana will train with his brother, but it is impossible to eliminate their difference in strength this week. Hibana replied to Hiro that he was so depressed. The girl asked the guy if it wasn't interesting. Hiro replied that there was nothing uninteresting for such an alchemist. The guy couldn't figure out what he could do to surpass his brother. What kind of weapon should he make that will cover this terrible difference? Hiro shared that he was burning up about it. Meanwhile, all the guys lit a fire and settled down around it. They decided to roast fish on the campfire. While everyone was enjoying the fish fried on the fire, Hiro told one of the knights that they would need to work on this plan. The guy replied that he understood him. Tomorrow morning they will clear the beach and start making a salt field. Hiro said that he also wrote how to make tools. He asked the knight to make instructions. He and his brother Takumu won't be here tomorrow. The guy apologized that they would leave them alone. Hiro thought about how he had some distance between him and his brother's soldiers. Hibana handed the guy the fish and asked if he would use that pool. Hiro replied that it was necessary to extract salt without magic. They need people who don't use magic to be able to get salt themselves. Hibana said that they went back to the beginning anyway. They have so much more work to do. Hiro agreed with the girl and replied that he still thinks it's necessary for them. His brother said that if he was not defeated, he would not say that alchemy could save the kingdom. If they don't have such a big difference in strength with other countries, then they can do everything. At that moment, the knights were delighted with such a wonderful dinner. Takumu also said that the sea fish was very tasty. Hiro thought about the fact that weapons were originally made for the weak. The most ideal weapon is one that anyone can use and kill anyone. Previously, it was assumed that if a country is rich, then there will be someone who will attack it. Therefore, they are preparing powerful weapons. First, you need to reduce the enemy's strength, and Takumu, with his incredible strength in knights, will deliver the final blow. This was his main tactic. Hibana said that, of course, she was grateful to the guy for making strong weapons, but the girl wants to defeat him with her own strength. Hiro replied to the girl that he also wanted her to surpass her brother. The guy said that it was not necessary to fight. After him, the girl will continue to train and someday she will surpass him. Hibana replied to the guy that she promised him she would do it. The girl does not know how long it will take her, but she will become the strongest. If she doesn't, she won't be worthy. Hibana told Hiro that she wanted to be worthy of him. The guys exchanged glances with each other. Hiro replied that it was good that she had such confidence. Hiro couldn't figure out what kind of atmosphere it was. Hibana asked the guy what he had come up with. Hiro replied that he wanted to build a road between the sea and the kingdom. Hibana replied that there were only 3 months left, so she doesn't think it's possible. Hiro replied that he would definitely be able to. He only says what he can do. Hibana agreed with the guy and said they needed to come up with a good plan. She'll find time for that later. The girl asked if she needed to make a weapon first this week, didn't she? Hiro replied that it wasn't quite there. Tomorrow morning he will finish the road plan and after that, he will start building it. And during the construction, they will think about her weapons. This surprised the girl very much, and she asked the guy what it meant. Hiro replied that during the day, he would build a road and think about her weapons, and in the evening, he would start making a prototype weapon and would train Hibana. Hibana replied to the guy that he was very clever. Hiro replied that this was his strong point. He comes up with a plan in his head, and then writes down the plan and thinks over the details. Tomorrow they will return to the castle and it will work immediately. The guy asked Hibana to help him. Hiro said that he would tell Hibana his plan after they passed through the Devil's Forest again. The guy thinks it's going to be a good workout, and they'll get through it quickly. Hibana replied to the guy that he surprised her more and more every time. The guy shouted that they would try their best. Meanwhile, it was noon the next day, near the beginning of the Devil's Forest. Hiro told the girl that he had dumped all the paperwork on agates, so now they can start building a road. Hibana asked the guy that they were near the entrance to the forest, and they would not go there. Hiro replied that they were having trouble cutting down the Devil's Forest. If they can't get through the forest, they'll go there. The guy told the excited Hibana that if she did not want to go through the forest, then she did not need to do it. It is correct to call what he will build not a road, but a tunnel. Hibana told the guy that it was even crazier than building a road, but the guy replied that no. In fact, it is not. She can approach the guy. Hiro said that alchemy is the manipulation of matter, sand, and earth are especially well combined. The harder you dig the earth, the deeper the hole becomes. Hiro digs at an angle so that the cart can move without problems. And when they reach a certain depth, Hiro will start walking horizontally, making his way to the sea. Hiro added that by making a tunnel, they don't have to worry about trees and monsters. During yesterday's hike, He discovered that there was no groundwater. Hiro doesn't know if there are underground monsters there, but when they appear, then Hiro and Hibana will worry. Hibana said she couldn't believe that the guy was building the tunnel himself with alchemy, even though she saw it with her own eyes. Hiro replied that she might not believe it, but he did. This time he will do even more. Hibana asked the guy if the ceiling above them would collapse. She was kind of scared. Hiro replied that if you hit the wall, it would be very hard because of the compression of the earth by alchemy. It cannot be compared to a brick. It is very strong and does not let water through. So yes, nothing will collapse. Hibana decided to personally verify this for herself, and the girl said that the wall was really very hard. Hiro said that when this road is built, everyone will be able to safely walk from the city to the sea. They will be able not only to produce salt, but also to fish. Due to predatory fishing, it has become almost impossible to catch fish on the lake near the kingdom. And if you fish in the sea, the food will become richer and people will be happier. Hibana replied that she couldn't wait for that day. The girl thought that Hiro looked very happy. Hibana said that, despite this, quite a lot of magic power is spent on construction. If the girl herself had done it, she would have already fainted. Hiro replied that he was born like that. But I must say that it's hard for him too. The guy looked at his plan and said that carts with 2 horses should pass freely. This is the minimum requirement for a tunnel. Therefore, the width should be 8 meters, and the height should be almost 4 meters. This tunnel requires a lot of magic power. Hibana told the guy that she wanted to help him, but didn't know what she could do. Hiro replied to the girl that he wanted her to clean up the earth and stones. The girl looked back in surprise. Hiro said that there is a limit to the compression of the earth. He would like to avoid the accumulation of a residual part of the earth and stones. Hibana replied that she understood him. The power work was just right for the girl. Hiro said that in order not to get tired to death before the evening workout, she can work without straining too much. Hibana replied to the guy that she did not agree with this and would work hard. Hiro thought she was a big fan of training. Hibana said that she wants to become stronger, and this is another workout. Hiro understood the girl and asked her to be careful. The guy thought that if she got sick, he would need to back her up. Hibana said that everything depends on her strength. The girl was wondering how long it would last, and so the guy started active work on the construction of the tunnel. The guys worked hard, Hiro built the tunnel, and Hibana cleaned the ground. After a while, the guys stopped working, and Hiro said that he was very tired. Hiro said that they would finish their work for today. If they continue further, they will not have enough strength for evening work. Hiro saw that they had walked 600 meters. It's more than he thought. Hibana said it was very good, and she was already tired too. Hiro told the girl that, thanks to her, he was able to focus only on making the tunnel. The guy was very grateful to the girl, and he did not understand how many times she ran back and forth. Suddenly, Hibana told the guy that she had noticed something there. The girl said that in one day of dragging the earth, she gets very tired. In the beginning, the girl ran back and forth 1,200 meters at a time. And in the last run, the girl ran 40,000 meters at a time. Hiro replied to the girl that she had definitely noticed it. The further they dig, the greater the distance for harvesting excess land. They can throw out the earth at the entrance from the side of the pestilence. Hibana said it was a very good workout of muscles and endurance. With their pace, they will be able to finish in about a month. They need to do it in 3 months, so it was a good result. Hiro agreed with the girl and said that he expects 2 months. But Hibana asked the guy why he felt that way. Hiro replied they would not stop only at digging a tunnel. Hibana asked the guy what else he wanted to do. Hiro said that first, you need to check and strengthen the wall. He won't let it collapse. When they are done with this, they will need a device that does not allow water to pass through. And if water does appear, then a drain is needed. The children will also need a light and a device for fresh air circulation. The guy added that it would take more than 2 months to do all this. They still have a lot to do. Hibana replied that it was a horror. She asked the guy that he plans to create a lot of great things, but whether he necessarily needs to do all this. Hiro replied that they didn't need a road where they would only transport salt. It is necessary in addition to this. Hiro reminded the girl that she has a workout with her brother in the evening, and she looks very tired. Hibana was outraged and told the guy that she was fine. She is not tired. She still has strength. Hiro thought that she was definitely not okay. She looks like a fawn. Hiro asked the girl to open her mouth, but Hibana asked the guy what he wanted to do. Hiro handed the girl a pill. and immediately shoved it into the girl's mouth. Hibana's face began to change gradually. After a moment, the girl couldn't stand the taste anymore. Hibana shouted at the guy that it was the worst taste in the world. She doesn't understand why he did this to her, but Hiro just laughed at that. The guy apologized to the girl and asked her how she liked the pill. She felt better. Hibana tried to jump, and she realized that she really felt much better. It was incredible for her. Hibana asked the guy that there are pills that take away fatigue. Hiro replied that they were also made by Alchemy. The ingredients are very valuable. If you use the pills too much, then there will be too much stress on the body. Hiro noted that they should not be consumed just like that. And the reason for this is a possible war, so he doesn't want to waste their supplies. The medicine will be able to return soldiers to combat readiness in a short time. It will be a salvation for them. The guy told Hibana that today was a special occasion. If he doesn't see the difference between a girl and a brother, then he won't be able to make a normal weapon. If Hibana is tired, she won't be able to train. Hibana replied that she was sorry. She had already thought that she would be able to work hard and drink this medicine in order to recover quickly and go to training. Hiro replied that it would be brave of her. Hibana thanked the guy for such a valuable medicine. Hiro told the girl that they were coming back. Hibana told the guy that before she went, she wanted to ask him something. The girl said that she had some request for the guy. The girl asked Hiro if she could become his lover. This question made Hiro very confused. The guy asked Hibana what she was talking about in such a place. Hibana confessed that she fell in love with him. It was for this reason that the girl decided to confess her feelings to him. Hibana told the guy that she couldn't be his queen. He can keep their relationship a secret. A girl wouldn't say that just to please a man. Hiro asked the girl if she was telling him the truth. Hibana replied that yes, she genuinely fell in love with him at that meeting, as he had the courage to go against his two brothers. That's why she tells him about it. Hibana asked Hiro what he would say to her. Hiro asked the girl if she had met anyone before. Hibana replied that she did not. She thinks they can handle it. Humans are animals too. You just have to trust your instincts. Hibana was waiting for an answer from the guy, and Hiro himself could not figure out what to do. He told the girl that he needed time because he wanted to think about everything. Hibana replied to the guy that she would wait for an answer from him. Patience is one of the main advantages of swordsmen. The guys headed towards the exit, and Hiro wondered why Hibana had so suddenly confessed her feelings to him. The guy thought that marriage for the royal families was just a tool to strengthen relations with other countries. With such a poor country like theirs, hardly anyone would want to get married, so there are no problems. Hiro thought that Hibana was so strong, beautiful, smart, and had a lot to talk about. The guy decided that tomorrow they need to get to know each other better. Meanwhile, Hiro and Hibana headed to Takumu's for training. When the guys entered the arena, all the warriors immediately paid attention to them. Despite their strange faces, Hibana greeted everyone happily. Hibana told the guy that they all had such faces, but they didn't seem to hate them. Hiro replied that they had probably heard about the fight. They are interested in the girl's strength. Hiro and Hibana approached Takumu and said that they had arrived for training. Takumu said that he wanted to see Hibana's strength first. She's going to fight Harold. Hibana looked at the guy carefully. The girl asked Takumu if she would fight him. The guy replied that it was dangerous to fight with him if he did not control his powers. He can kill like that. Hibana agreed with the guys and said that she would show them her strength. Finally, Hiro asked the girl to be careful. Hibana replied that she would definitely win. Harold turned to the captain and asked if he really could not hold back. Takumu replied that he did. He knows about what she's capable of. Takumu looked at Hiro and said he wasn't interested in her anymore. Harold and Hibana prepared for battle. Hibana asked the guy what their rules were. Harold replied that they would use wooden swords. They fight until the first blow. The guy asked Hibana what she thought about it. The girl replied that everything was fine. Hiro looked at Harold and thought he was strong. Hiro was confident that he was among the top 12 squads. If the magic power smoothly envelops the body, then physical abilities can be enhanced. Takumu told the guys that he thought they were both ready, so they could get ready. Harold and Hibana set themselves up for battle. Takumu shouted that they had started a battle, so they both rushed towards each other. Hibana struck Harold first, but the guy managed to put out his sword and defend himself. Hibana began to move quickly around Harold, and the guy did not have time to follow the girl. Hibana was so fast that Harold didn't know where he was going to get the next hit. Takumu said Hibana has great footwork and is very fast, and Harold is only defending himself. Hiro also supported the girl and said that she was doing well. Spinning around Harold, she provides a good stance in which she can attack him. However, Harold also began to strike at the girl, but Hibana was still holding up well. She reflects attacks well. You need to grab her with a punch. The guys took turns hitting each other, but they managed to dodge them. The other knights watched the battle and supported the guys, wondering how well Hibana was doing. Hiro said that Harold is not inferior to Hibana's speed, and besides, her tactics are very tedious. This blow looked quite heavy. At one point, Harold shouted at the girl that she was caught. The guy tried to hit the girl, but he couldn't do it. Hibana managed to jump away from the spot, so Harold did not have time to hit her. This angered Harold because he failed to implement his plan. Hibana decided to take advantage of Harold's hesitation, and the girl struck the guy in the back. Harold screamed in pain and leaned back. The guy fell to the ground, and Hibana confidently said that she had defeated him. Harold replied to the girl that she was quite strong. The guys thanked each other for the battle, and Takumu said that they were both great. They did a good job. Takumu said that according to his observations, Hibana is strong in her own way. But this did not suit the girl, and she asked the guy what he meant. Takumu asked the girl to borrow her sword. The girl agreed and handed it to the guy. Takumu took out his sword and handed it to his younger brother. The guy asked Hiro to hold his sword firmly in front of him. Hiro agreed, but he still asked the guy why he handed him the sword. Takumu told his younger brother that he was coming. At the same moment, the guy jumped off his seat and rushed towards Hiro. The guy was shocked by this, and he only managed to put Takumu's sword in front of him. When the guy hit him, he broke down. Part of Takumu's sword flew off to the side. Hiro was very excited about the whole situation, and he looked at Takumu's sword with fear. The elder brother said that he had a good sword. His sword was good too, but now it's just trash. A disgruntled Hibana asked Takumu why he did it. The guy replied that he had checked their weapons before the fight. The guy turned to Hibana and said that during the battle she would have lost if they had fought with wooden swords. And if it were a real weapon, then this would happen. Hibana was outraged and asked Takumu how much longer he would underestimate her. The girl assumed that he was planning to win by taking her punch. Takumu replied that he would win. If I couldn't, I wouldn't say it. Hibana replied to the guy that she did not need his indulgences. Takumu asked the girl to prove it by winning it. If the girl does this, then the next fight will be without indulgences. Only if she can do it. Hibana realized that she needed to do this. Hiro asked the girl if she could handle it. Hibana replied that she would definitely win. Hiro thought that in the beginning, she just wanted to see the difference in their powers. But now, she wants to win. Hiro understood that she was pretty angry. My brother behaved quite provocatively, so Hiro doesn't think he's actually underestimating Hibana. Hibana and Takumu prepared for battle. They looked each other in the face seriously, because everyone wanted to win. Harold asked the guys to get ready, and then he gave the command to start the fight. Hibana headed towards the guy, but something went wrong. A second later, Hibana was already lying on the ground, completely unaware of what had happened. Everyone looked at the guys in disbelief, and Hiro thought that he could win in an instant. Hiro thought he was mistaken. The guy thought that Takumu's brother would start first, and Hibana would just defend himself. But he did it differently. Takumu allowed Hibana to attack him. Then he easily dodged and struck. Hiro understood that the basis for a swordsman is to keep the right distance and understand the opponent's pace. It was not a victory of speed or strength, but of skill. From the very beginning, Takumu didn't have a plan. It's just an overwhelming difference in strength. Takumu turned to Hibana and said that she had good physical fitness. The guy said she was putting in enough effort, but she was just relying on her talent. The guy can't stand complacency. Takumu was sure that Hibana was thinking only of himself and did not see the opponent. The girl lacks observation, understanding, and foresight. So, she won't defeat really strong people. Takumu announced that that was it. They can return to their posts. The knights accepted the chief's order. Takumu approached Hiro and said that she was a good swordsman, but that wouldn't do. Her problem is that for her there are only those who win, and those who lose. Takumu says that she thought it was natural to lose to him. She wasn't really sorry, because she wasn't interested in him. Takumu was sure that she was only thinking about herself, and because of that, she lost. This is a fatal flaw. Hiro thought about how Hibana had never had a suitable opponent her age, and the Golden Knights are too far away. Hibana said that Hibana imagines how to look at an opponent and suddenly attack. To fix this, she needs to feel the bitterness of defeat. Hiro thought that saying that she would definitely win was the best way to see the opponent from the other side. Takumu is not only strong, but also guides people on the right path. The guy was glad that they were on the same side. Hiro thanked his brother and said that after that she would definitely be the first. Takumu replied that he strongly hoped so. Takumu told Hiro that he had a request for his brother. He asked Hiro to make him a sword. The guy was surprised to ask his brother what exactly he needed to make a sword. Takumu replied that yes, if possible. He asked to use his broken sword as a material. Takumu said that his sword, made with the help of alchemy, was able to cut him. It was an important ritual for the guy. Although he used it like that, it doesn't matter. Takumu wants to fight with it again if he can. Hiro thought that thanks to this ritual, he was able to accept alchemy and move on. Hiro replied to his brother that okay, in gratitude for training with Hibana, he would make him a good sword. Ordinary metal has no history. If enchantment is applied, then compatibility will be poor. But Takumu's brother fought with his sword, so he definitely must have a fighting history. The guy was sure that everything would go well. Hiro asked Takuma not to use his new sword against Hibana. Takuma replied that he had just planned it. The guy wanted to see if they could beat him. Takumu headed towards the exit, and the guy told Hiro that he hoped for him. At that moment, Hibana continued to sit on the ground. The girl was very upset. Hiro approached the girl and told her that she had lost. Tears of defeat appeared in Hibana's eyes. Hibana agreed with the guy and said that yes, she lost with a rout. She had lost before, but it was a shame. Ase was the first time. Hiro replied that then they need to get rid of this grudge. Hibana said that she would become stronger and would no longer be so clumsy. Hiro replied that yes, he believed in her. Hiro held out his hand to the girl and called her to go home. In this fight, Hiro realized what she needed, so he wants to help her win. The girl agreed with the guy. Hibana said that she saw the difference with him again. No matter how much she trains, she won't catch up with him in 1 week. She needed his strength now. Hiro thought that now was proof that she was looking ahead. The guy was sure that she didn't need his consolation, so he decided to go about his business. The guys held hands and Hiro said that the two of them would defeat Takuma's brother. Hiro turned to the girl and said that she was not in the mood to win today. Just figuring out the difference between them has brought enough results. Hibana admitted that Hiro was right, but Takumu is much further away than she might have thought. Even with that advantageous position, she couldn't move her arms or legs. She's not so sure of herself anymore. Hiro asked the girl why she was so timid. After all, the girl herself said that she would not be like that anymore. Apparently, she lied. Hibana replied to the guy that he was bad because he said nothing but nasty things. Hibana said she would definitely catch up with him. And yet, it's unrealistic to beat him in a week. No matter how many swords Hiro made for Hibana, she couldn't even stand up to him. The girl did not understand what she should do now. Hiro replied that yes, there was only one thing left for them. They have to improve everything except the sword. Hiro said that the lightness, sharpness, durability, and destructive power of this sword is approximately equal to 4. The basis of the Hibana sword is lightness and sharpness. It couldn't be made any easier, and the sharpness was definitely enough. The guy said that Hibana's fighting style already has resilience and destructive power. That is, there is no point in improving all this anymore. Therefore, the guy decided that he would create armor that improves reflexes and dynamic vision. Hibana asked the guy that all this would be in her armor. Hiro replied that yes, but due to the strain on the body, the limit is only 3 minutes. Hibana said that it was more than enough to fight swordsmen. The girl asked Hiro how he would make such armor. The guy replied that he would use electric power. Hibana asked the guy what it was. Hiro wondered if he could explain to the girl what electricity was. The guy realized that it would be faster for him to demonstrate this on a girl. Hibana asked the guy that it was something indecent. This made Hiro laugh. The guy thought about it and said what he should do. Hibana thought at that moment that it was definitely something indecent. The girl asked the guy not to be shy, so he can do anything. Hiro was embarrassed by this. The guy said he was going to show her. Hiro took Hibana's hand, and the girl felt electricity. Hiro laughed at the girl, and Hibana asked the guy what was funny about it. Hiro replied that she just reacted unexpectedly sweetly. She also said that he could do anything. Hibana asked the guy that it was electricity. Hiro replied that yes, there are nerves in the human body, and electricity runs through them. Her muscles move thanks to electricity. Hiro said that if you specifically conduct electricity, the muscles will involuntarily contract. And the girl managed to do it again. Hibana said that she is not very pleased when her hands move on their own. The girl asked Hiro that he wanted to use such a tool. Hiro replied that yes. By controlling electricity in the brain, it is possible to enhance dynamic vision and improve reaction by accelerating the transmission of signals to the muscles. It is with this effect that he is going to create armor. Hibana agreed with the guy and said that she wanted to use electricity for tomorrow's training. She wants to get used to the armor and thoroughly study the movements of Prince Takumu. Hiro replied that she was burning with enthusiasm again, but it would take 2 days to create, so the girl would have to wait. Hibana replied that she understood the guy and was looking forward to it. Hibana still asked the guy why it was related to obscenities. Hiro thought that she hadn't forgotten about it after all. The guy said that every person's nerves transmit electrical signals differently. They need to figure out how much electricity they will need. That is why it is necessary that electricity goes directly to the skin. If the clothes get in the way, then the accuracy will decrease, and they will not be able to collect the correct data. The girl replied that she understood the guy. Hibana asked if it was possible to start receiving data after eating and taking a bath. Hiro asked the girl if he could know the reason. Hibana replied that she needed to prepare. Because of the sweat, the girl will feel sticky. Hibana wants to be beautiful before meeting her loved one. Hiro replied that it was just fine after eating. He asked the girl if she remembered the guy's words that he wanted to meet someone. Hibana replied that with someone who bakes bread deliciously. Hiro promised to meet her so they can go together. Hibana replied that she would be interested in meeting the person he likes. Hiro asked the girl how she knew he liked this man. Hibana replied that she understood it from the naked. When Hiro talks about him, he looks much happier. Carol thought that she still didn't understand. She's so inconsiderate. Hiro said he liked her. You could even say that he loves her. This surprised the girl very much. Hiro told Hibana that this was an important link to save the kingdom, so they could go. Hibana asked the guy what he meant. It was evening, and Hiro was sitting on the couch waiting for Hibana. The girl ran to the guy and asked him to apologize for being late. The girl said that she was in a hurry to see the guy, so she put on casual clothes. The girl just washed off the sweat and came. Hiro asked what was wrong. She looked like her and was effective. The guy asked what the smell was. Hibana said they were spirits from the Culinary principality. Today is a special day, so she decided to apply them. Hiro asked the girl that they were just having dinner and collecting data, why this day was special. Hibana replied that no, maybe he would fail her today. Hiro replied that this would not happen. Hibana told the guy that he was a coward, and Hiro replied that it was just a mess. Hibana asked the guy if the royal family lived on the same floor. The girl had not been there for a long time, except for his room. Hiro replied that they were going to meet a member of the royal family. Hibana asked the guy in surprise that it was really his fiancée and the girl's rival. Hiro replied that they were going to this room. The guy opened the door, and the guys found themselves in a large hall. Hibana asked the guy that this was the royal room. Hiro replied that it used to be her father's office, but she turned it into her room. The girl to whom the guests came heard their voices and slammed the book shut. The sweet girl was glad to meet the guys, and she asked Hibana that she was a royal knight. Hibana was very surprised by the beauty of this girl. Hiro told her that yes, her name was Hibana. The girl was very happy and said that they had finally met. The girl said that her brother had told her a lot about her. Hibana asked the girl in surprise what it meant. Hibana asked Hiro why she called him brother. The guy replied that it was his younger sister. This girl was the second princess of the kingdom of Carterosa, Isa Nayuki Carterosa. Hibana asked the guy why he hadn't introduced her to her before. She knew that Nayuki rarely appeared in public, but this was the first time she had met her. Hiro replied that it was all because of Mei's sister. They don't show Nayuki to people on purpose. The guy apologized to the girl. Hibana understood the whole situation and said that Hiro was right. Hibana turned to Nayuki and said it was nice to meet her. The girl introduced herself and said that she was Prince Hiro's knight. Nayuki said that she was also pleased to meet too. Nayuki asked that she was her brother's childhood friend. Hibana asked Hiro that she knew they were friends. Hiro replied that she rarely goes outside because of her weak body, and that's why he tells her about the world around her. Previously, when the guy came to get a book, he told her about the Hibana every time. Nayuki told the girl that she was weak, but she always envied strong women. That's why Nayuki has always admired Hibana. This melted Hibana's heart, and the girl told Hiro that she was very jealous that he had such a good sister. Hibana shouted that Nayuki was so cute that she wanted to hug her, but the girl realized that she was hugging not Nayuki, but someone else. This man asked Hibana if she could refrain from such an action. Hibana nervously said that she was very familiar with this voice. It was Nayuki's knight, Hiro, and Hibana's friend Rebecca. Hibana said in surprise that she did not expect to see her there. Nayuki replied to Rebecca that she was there, so everything was fine. Rebecca replied that no, only she could hug her. Hiro greeted Rebecca and said that she had helped them so much back then. The guy apologized to the girl for the rush. Rebecca replied that she didn't mind. It was Princess Nayuki's order after all. Rebecca added that she would not forget the humiliation of being forced to wear a maid's clothes. Hibana told Rebecca that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. The girl was surprised that it was she who brought them the food. Rebecca asked Hibana that she didn't recognize her then. She probably didn't study well. Hibana replied that she was just very worried at the time. Rebecca said she was joking. The girl was glad to have Hibana back, and she said that she had become Prince Hiro's knight. Rebecca said that Hiro was so stubborn about rejecting other knights. Hibana asked if he was waiting for her because of their promise. Hibana told Hiro that she was very happy and grateful to the guy. Hiro told her that she didn't have to thank him. Rebecca said that she misses their training sessions with Master Hiss. Hiro said she didn't treat him very well back then. Rebecca asked the guy that he was stronger now. Hibana replied that it was a difficult memory, and the girl thought that Rebecca would become an army commander. It was amazing to her that she was serving someone. Hibana said that if Rebecca chose her mistress, then Princess Nayuki must be an amazing person. Rebecca replied that Princess Nayuki was her everything. She is the greatest treasure of this kingdom. The girl knelt down in front of Nayuka and said that she was protecting her at the cost of her life. Hibana asked Hiro if Rebecca had always been like this. The guy replied that they were different from Nayuki. She just worships her. The guy told Rebecca that her love for Nayuki was understandable. He will explain everything to Hibana. Hiro told Hibana that they were his secret allies. In order to convince the brothers, Nayuki baked bread, and Rebecca, disguised as a servant, delivered it to them. Hiro said that at this stage, the guy doesn't want a lot of people to know about them, so he asked them to help. The guys decided to return to the main point. They called him to this place because something is ready. Nayuki replied that she did. She asked Rebecca to bring it. A moment later, Rebecca brought and showed the guys the pasta that Hiro had asked them to make. Hiro looked at it carefully and said that it was very well done. Hibana asked the guy what it was. Hiro replied that it was a kind of noodles. Hibana was surprised to say that these noodles are hard and they don't look delicious. It looked more like straw. Hiro replied that it was dried canned food that needs to be cooked first, and then it can be eaten. Nayuki said that maybe canned food doesn't sound very attractive, but if you brew pasta in hot water, it will turn out very tasty. They made her out of wheat, sea salt, which was served by her brother, and water. The girls also wanted to use more eggs. After that, they mixed everything well into the dough. The girls rolled the dough through the pasta machine, which Hiro created with the help of alchemy. They needed to dry the resulting paste. The sun-dried surface of the paste should be fixed and not change shape. Drying inside the room should return moisture to the paste and prevent it from cracking. Drying in the sun and wind will completely dry the paste. Hiro said that the paste can be stored for 3 years. When there is a good harvest, they can make pasta and save it in case of a bad harvest. Hibana said that she had tried a lot of noodles in the King Duchy, but not that hard. Rebecca said that she saw dried bread from canned food. The girl had never thought about dried noodles. Hiro asked Nayuki if she had already tried noodles. She didn't just cook dried food. Nayuki replied that yes, of course. The girl invited everyone to the table because she had prepared a lot of things for them. Hibana asked the girls if they needed help. Rebecca replied that no, she was a guest. After that, Nayuki brought noodles to the guys and invited them to treat themselves. The girl spread the noodles into equal portions on plates. Hibana said with joy and admiration that it looked very tasty. Rebecca asked the guys to try the pasta that Princess Nayuki had made, which she had worked so hard on. The guys asked Rebecca why she was grinning like that. Hiro decided to try it first and said that he would add a little salt first. The guy wrapped the noodles on a fork and tasted it. Hiro said it was very tasty. The noodles turned out to be much tastier than his. Hibana tried it too, and said it was very tasty. This pasta has become so unusual. The girl was delighted. Hiro turned to Nayuki and said that her food was so easy and pleasant to eat. When he cooked the food, it was just terrible. The guy didn't even think that it was possible to improve the taste so much with salt. Nayuki laughed a little and said that she'd practiced a lot in this case. Hiro replied that he was sure that their subjects would like her food. Hiro added that it was cool that after so many attempts, such a delicious dish turned out. Nayuki asked her brother to try the pasta with sauce first, and only then he would compliment her. The guy agreed with her. Hiro decided that he would try it with white sauce first. Hiro's eyes widened, and the guy said it was potato sauce. Hibana also really liked his taste. Nayuki said that mashed potatoes and salt were added to the mushroom soup. Hiro thought that since he has memories from another world, he is not surprised by such a sauce based on onion soup. But still, the guy decided that the girl was different. She was able to come up with such a sauce, living in a world where food is only cooked. Hiro was sure that she was a culinary genius. Hibana asked Nayuki if they would eat. The girl replied that they had already eaten when they cooked for them. Hibana said she would try another sauce. The girl couldn't wait to try it. When Hibana tasted it, she realized that it was very sour. The girl asked Nayuki that vinegar was the basis of the sauce. Hibana asked the girl that there was vinegar in their kingdom. Pasta and sour sauce go very well together. It was just delicious. Nayuki said that they actually got the vinegar by accident when they were cooking. Vinegar itself is very convenient, and the girl decided to take advantage of this accident. She created a sauce with vinegar, oil, salt, and dried meat. Nayuki added that this sauce was also used in soup. The girl asked the guys how they liked this taste. Hibana replied that he was perfect. Both options are simply amazing. Hiro supported the girl and said that it was a very rich taste. The guy told Nayuki that she had done a very good job. The guy asked the girl if he could take her recipes. Nayuki replied that, of course he could take them. We need to show these recipes to everyone. Suddenly, Rebecca hugged Nayuki with all her might and said that she was congratulating her Princess Nayuki. Hiro thought that they would not only give the people wheat, but also easy pasta recipes with delicious sauces. Nayuki's help is simply invaluable, and she will definitely be needed in the future. Hiro asked the girl that she had said that she got the vinegar by accident. She got what she was trying to cook. Nayuki replied that, yes, she had succeeded. The girl said that there was still something to improve, but it was already quite tasty. Hiro said with admiration that she had succeeded after all. Hibana asked the guy what they were talking about. Hiro replied that he had asked Nayuki for something. He has been trying to do this for a long time. It will be a symbol of their developing country. Rebecca said she tried it too. It was amazing. But the girl was not surprised, because it was prepared by Princess Nayuki. She had never thought that this would happen in their country. Hibana said they keep talking and talking. She's interested in trying it now too. Nayuki replied that of course she would share it with her. She asked Rebecca to bring it to them. A moment later, the girl brought the jug. She poured them into mugs, and Hibana immediately started sniffing it all. Hiro and Hibana each took a mug, and the guy said that she could try and understand what they had done. Hiro looked at the mug and thought that he hadn't drunk it in a very long time. The guy was not only pleasant on his tongue, but also in his throat. It was a bitter taste that disappears and sweetness appears after it. This powerful taste of wheat and hops amazed the guy. Hiro drank a mug and said that it was delicious. Hibana said that she just couldn't believe it. The girl said that it was ale, and moreover, it was of very high quality. The guy replied that yes. After he bred a new variety of wheat, he only thought about creating alcohol. This is not necessary to save the kingdom, but it is necessary for the life of the people to be richer and happier. Such a symbol will be the products of the flavor industry. For example, ale. Hibana said that it was amazing for her. She had already tasted ale in the Principality of Culinary, but it was the first time that it was so delicious. Hiro said that he learned the recipe from a respondent, and the main thing about it is the quality of the wheat and Nayuki's talent. That was the taste of happiness. The product is not for a simple one, but for a rich, full life. The guy turned to Nayuki and said that at the harvest festival, he would announce to the people that he would become king. The guy wants this ale on him. Hiro asked the girl if she could arrange it. Nayuki happily replied that yes, of course. She will definitely cope with this task. Rebecca hugged the princess tightly again and said that she would do her best too. Nayuki told Rebecca that she was going to spill everything. Hiro thought that he could always rely on her. She was his sister for a reason. Brothers Takumu and Agata think that Nayuki is useless, and that she is too trusting, cannot go into diplomacy, and therefore cannot marry for convenience. Not only is she very trusting, but even if she is smart, she is definitely not in politics. Despite having magical and physical abilities, her skin is too susceptible to the sun. Exercise is detrimental to her body, so she won't be able to fight. Her kindness also pulls down. The guy was sure that Nayuki had the power to save their kingdom. The bread that the brothers liked was baked by Nayuki. They'll tell them everything next time. They will definitely change their minds about Nayuki. The training of Takumu's brother and Hibana is very important, but it is also important to make their kingdom prosperous. When he and his brother Agate unite and plant wheat everywhere, they will need Nayuki recipes. Having done all this, their kingdom will only move forward. The guys ate everything, and they had free time left. Hiro turned to Hibana and said that their lunchtime was over, so they could start measuring. The girl apologized to the guy and asked if he could give her another hour. Hiro asked the girl why she needed him. Hibana replied that the food was very tasty and she overeated. Her house has become so big. Hiro replied that he didn't care, but Hibana asked the guy to understand her. Hiro agreed with the girl, and Hibana immediately began to actively squat. The guy thought that her voice alone could burn calories. Hiro asked the girl if she was sweating. Hibana replied that she hates sweating. She has a towel. Meanwhile, an hour had already passed. The girl started to undress, and she said she was ready. Hibana came to the guy and thanked Hiro for waiting for her. Hibana was completely naked in front of Hiro, and the girl asked if they could start. Hiro was very confused by this. The guy asked the girl to stand in this place. Hiro promised that he would try to finish as soon as possible. Hibana replied to the guy that it was good because she was quite ashamed to stand like that. Hiro shouted that he was starting. When the guy touched Hibana's back with his hands, the girl screamed. Hiro asked the girl if she was okay. Hibana replied that his hands were just very cold. Hiro replied to the girl that no, it was just her hot skin. At that moment, Hiro thought that she was more open at sea. The guy feels very strange when she's so modest. Hiro started to shake his head sharply in different directions, and he thought that he shouldn't say that, because it was rude to Hibana. He asked himself not to think about it, and just focus on the case. Hiro tried his best to get this over with as quickly as possible. Hibana told the guy that she still couldn't get used to the electric shock. Hiro asked the girl to be patient for a while. The guy said that it was amazing. She develops her whole body perfectly. Hiro shared with the girl that she had talent. Hibana asked the guy that he could only understand it by the electric current alone. Hiro replied that, in general, if they succeed now, then the difference with Takumu's brother will be minimal. Then there will be a part of the girl's work. Hibana replied that it was good. She would definitely become stronger within a week. Hiro said that even with his weapon and her efforts, it would not be possible to become as monstrously strong as Takumu. But the two of them would definitely do it. The guy was sure of it. Hibana replied to the guy that it would be kind of wasteful if she was the only one using his weapon. The guy replied that in the future, he and his brother Takumu planned to supply the army with his weapons. Hibana asked the guy that Hiro would do the same with men. Hiro replied that he would try. Hibana replied that it was good that he would make weapons for everyone. The girl asked that he would make a personal weapon for himself. If they get a bad weapon, then their army will be on an equal footing with the Golden Knight, Order of the Duchy of Kinar. And if you make a better weapon, then that will be their goal. Hiro said that if they didn't win as easily as Takumu's brother without alchemy equipment, then they would be in trouble. Hibana said it was good that he was saying that, but it still made sense. The girl apologized to the guy for complaining earlier. She promised to do everything in the best possible way. Hiro said that was a good answer. Hibana promised that she would do whatever was necessary for the sake of Princess Nayuki's pasta. Hiro replied that delicious food gives a lot of energy, and they still have a little bit left, so the guy asked Hibana not to move. After a while, Hibana got dressed and the guy thought that he was very tired. Hibana thanked the guy for helping her. The girl asked if the guy was too tired. Hiro replied that, in a sense, yes. Hiro said they were done for the day, so she could go to her room. Hibana asked the guy what he would do. Hiro replied that he wanted to bring the work to perfection. Hibana agreed with the guy and said that when he saw her naked, she was very worried and felt strange. Hiro asked the girl what she would order him to do. Meanwhile, the next day came. The guys came back to the tunnel in the vicinity of the Devil's Forest. Hibana told the guy that they were all dripping, but there was still no end in sight. Hiro replied that the distance is still small, but it will be even more difficult. Along the way, it is necessary to prepare drainage and ventilation equipment. At some point, Hiro told the girl that they already needed a rest. Hiro showed the girl what they would have for lunch today. Hibana said that it looks very tasty. Hibana asked the guy what kind of pasta it was. Hiro replied that Nayuki had prepared it for them. Nayuki said that she also won't forget about the seasoning and sauce to make it easier to snack outside. They definitely won't take up much space. They will wrap the minced meat with the finished noodles and add a little salt to the minced meat itself and make small cutlets. Hibana said that Princess Nayuki really likes to learn something new. Hibana tried it and said it was very tasty. Hiro agreed with the girl and replied that he had asked her to cook this dish. The guy said that this salty taste is just a paradise for a tired body. The guy remembered that they had only started digging the tunnel yesterday. Hibana replied that they had been doing nothing but dripping since the morning. Hiro replied that they couldn't do anything because they had important things to do during the day. Hibana asked the guy that he would have a meeting with Prince Agatha. The guy replied that yes, and she would train with Takumu. Hibana said that yes, from today on, only she and Prince Takumu will train. The girl thinks that she needs to show the soldiers how to become stronger. Hiro replied to the girl that he would be busy today, so he would not be able to see their workout. The guy wants her to tell him in detail about her feelings after training. The guy handed the girl a suit, which she immediately began to look at. Hibana was surprised to ask the guy if this was really the same suit. Hiro replied that yes, that's him. The girl said that the guy told her that it would take 2 days. Hiro replied that the girl had told him that she would get used to him in a day, and she also wants to see her brother's movements clearly. Suddenly, Hibana took the guy by the head, and Hiro, in a panic, asked the girl what was wrong with her. Hibana replied that if you look closely, you can see black circles under his eyes. Hibana asked the guy if he hadn't slept all night. The guy replied that no, he was asleep. But then I thought that he had only been asleep for 5 minutes. Hibana called the guy a liar. But she said she was very glad that he did it all for her. Hibana asked Hiro that they would leave the tunnel at this stage. But it's going to fall apart. The guy replied that yes, you can't leave him like that. If they don't work hard today, then they won't be able to finish on time. Hiro said that they can only drip with magic, and the amount of mana recovery time is the same. Nothing should fall apart there in 2 days. Hibana asked the guy that everything was done so well there. Hiro replied that compared to her, no. Hibana wanted to put on this costume as soon as possible. The guy thought that the sooner he finished, the faster Hibana would become stronger. The girl assumed that it would be a little cramped. The guy thought that nothing terrible had happened, that he hadn't slept one night. Hibana happily told the guy that she would wear it carefully. Hiro asked her not to be shy about him, and then she would tell the guy all her feelings. She's not experienced yet, and she still has a lot of weaknesses. The guy will do some more things for now. Hiro said that Hibana would test this suit, reveal its strengths. He would improve it, and the girl would become many times stronger. That was their life. Hibana told the guy that if that's the case, she won't hold back, so he should be ready. Hiro replied that he would be looking forward to it. Meanwhile, Hiro went to Agatai for a meeting. The guy told Hiro that it was good that he came. He has to show him the materials first. Hiro told Agatha that they would use the fields this year. Agatha said that in order for their people to grow wheat, first they need to show results, because it's risky not for them, but for the guys themselves. Hiro told Agatha that he was still the same. The guy thought that at the moment they have 2 types of fields, private and public. Knights handymen are engaged in the processing of state fields. Such knights are not professionals and their training takes a couple of hours. The rest of the time, they either cultivate the fields or farm. The second or third sons usually go to the soldiers, or, very rarely, people from another country. They replenish the total harvest of the kingdom and receive a salary in return. And when they get older, they retire. Thanks to his brother's development plan, there is always a lot of harvest, even paying a salary. He remains in the black. Landless people can get money for normal food and dream of getting their own field in the future. This system was invented by my brother. Both the people and the kingdom are in an advantageous position, and there is a very good internal policy. Agatha said that no matter how much they say that wheat will not germinate in the fields, if there is no precedent, then no one will be convinced of this. And besides, They have already tried to grow wheat several times and never succeeded. If we start talking about growing wheat again, the people will be scared and will not be able to do anything. Therefore, Agatha was sure that first they needed to show the people a successful result. Hiro agreed with his brother and said that it was not enough to just try, because a lean year would lead to an immediate general famine. The guy said that if you use state fields and knights handymen, then there will be a completely different conversation. Even in the unlikely event of failure, they would just be able to pay the knights and they would not starve to death. Agatha agreed with the guy and said that due to the fact that he had prepared salt, it could be used at the right hour. Hiro said that he doesn't seem to believe that wheat can grow, and he's considering alternate exit options. Agatha replied that he believed in his powers, which was a little different. Just preparing for everything is his job. Hiro said that since he had no objections to the plan, they could continue. Agatha replied that he would like to say so, but they have one problem. The guy said that the soldiers would not agree to this. Hiro was a little surprised by this. Agatha said that they came to ask them to plant sweet potatoes according to the plan. Hiro asked his brother why this happened. Agatha replied that they told him they didn't want to regret not planting sweet potatoes. Agatha told people that they would be paid a salary, even if nothing grew out of it. He was very sorry, but they didn't listen to him. Agatha said that they helped each other survive in this unfavorable world. Their love for the country and their friends is very strong. They don't think about money in case of failure, but they think that if they don't plant sweet potatoes, then someone will starve. Hiro thought about it and replied that it was very noble and made them proud, but it would be bad if they limited themselves to sweet potatoes this year. First, they need to grow wheat in the state field, showing good results and providing everyone with the grain left for the next year. Next year, it will be planned to grow wheat throughout the kingdom. And if it doesn't work out this year, they'll be a whole year late. The only drawback is the difference in yield. The amount of improved wheat is much higher than sweet potatoes. In the current situation, it is very dangerous to rely only on sweet potatoes. If they continue to grow sweet potatoes on the same land, then its yield will fall, as the land gradually becomes infertile. Hiro said that the infection of sweet potatoes is much worse. If he gets sick, it will definitely lead to universal famine. And they have no guarantee that this will not happen. The guy said he wanted them to have at least 2 basic food items. Wheat is one of the pillars of the salvation of this kingdom. The loss of 1 year will have a very unpleasant effect on the economy of the kingdom. Agatha replied that of course they could just order the knights to work, but that would be wrong. Hiro said that this kingdom was created only because the people love it. And if you break the foundation, then the accumulated discontent will instantly burst out. Agatha said that if you force wheat to be planted and it sprouts, then somehow you can convince the people, but it's quite risky. The people living there are the only assets of the kingdom. There's no way to lose them. Harvesting Hiro wheat takes 3 months. This variety is resistant to cold, but will not survive when a full-fledged winter comes, considering that it needs to be planted within 3 weeks before it's too late. But Hiro wants everyone to work, believing that they can enrich their kingdom. Hiro turned to Agate and asked him to let him convince the people. 5 years ago, Hiro ran towards a tree with a sword. The guy hit the tree with all his might with his sword and fell to the ground. People began to worry about Hiro, so they asked him to rest because just swinging a sword would not make him stronger. Hiro sighed heavily and said that he really wanted to wake up in an open field with seeds. The guy was very hungry. They needed to get some money. Suddenly, Hiro was handed food and asked to take it. The guy asked Hiro if he was resting. The guy asked him to treat himself. It was potatoes from his mom. The guy shouted that they were princes too. They do not know fatigue, and they have 1 more spurt left. The guy started talking about how they would try to do everything right away. The guy asked Hiro to rest. The guy thanked them. Agatha and Hiro came to the arable land and watched the workers. Hiro thought about how the work ended early today. Agatha asked his younger brother why he didn't find out more about it. Hiro replied that he did not want to interfere with their work. He decided to wait until they were done. Agatha replied that he could have called them to the castle. He did not want to go to the outpost. Agatha said he needed to show his sincerity. Hiro thought that Agatha's brother's story was excellent. Still, it was strange to the guy that Agatha did not convince them. The guy didn't understand what was the matter. Hiro decided that he needed to try to convince them. At that moment, one of the guys said that they were done. They all did a good job. Hiro walked up to the guys and greeted them. The guys greeted the prince in return. The guy told Hiro that he once told him not to come alone, Hiro replied that he knew it himself, that he shouldn't do that. The guy whispered that there were certain rumors. The guy asked if they could talk about it. Hiro laughed awkwardly. The guy told the prince that they needed more new tools. The days when they could do without them are over. They will be grateful to the guy. Hiro agreed with the guys and said that they were more practical than the old ones. Hiro thought that most of the mined iron was needed to create armor. The guy was sorry that there was no mine. If he does not use the handle he picked up, he will be limited to using only the tip of the blade. The guy told Hiro that he was thinking about when they could plant the sweet potatoes. Hiro looked at Agate, who shrugged his shoulders. Hiro thought that he doubted that he needed adventures, so they have to take and grow wheat. Hiro turned to the guys and said that they would grow wheat. The guy said that they had no other options. All the workers were amazed at what the prince had told them. People were convinced that Hiro had become their trader. Hiro said that he thought about it quite a lot, and he asked the guys to listen to him. Hiro wants them to think about growing green onions and wheat. The guy asked them not to mumble, but rather to look at the wheat that he brought. Maybe with a special fertilizer this time it will germinate. Wheat is much more reliable than sweet potatoes, and the probability of failure is very low with it. If everything goes according to plan, it will bear fruit by winter. People were surprised at what kind of wheat he had. The guy told Hiro that she was shallow, so they won't have anything to eat. They will feed like mosquitoes. The guy added that even their prince was lying. He's always talking about what might happen and if everything goes according to plan. The guy asked Hiro if he knew what happens when hunger comes. The guy couldn't contain his emotions and shouted that winter could come very early this year. If he doesn't do strange things, then they can safely get through it this year. The guy didn't understand why he was doing unnecessary things. At that moment, Agatha just listened and looked at the guys. Hiro thought that Saima might not be a bad guy, but he didn't agree that growing sweet potatoes was the only sure way out. He may be stupid, but unlike others, he can be convinced otherwise. Saima is one of those whom he can trust. Talking to anyone other than him can lead to unpleasant consequences. Hiro said he could answer his question. The guy asked Simi what he thought he wanted to grow wheat for. The guy said to enrich the page. Saima said it was still the same idea driving him. Hiro said that in any case, sweet potato should not be used. Hiro tried to prove that the yield of this wheat is higher than that of sweet potatoes. Besides, it is useless in the form it is now. The country could go into decline, and Hiro was very much afraid of this. Hiro bowed his head to the guy and asked him to trust him. This surprised the guys very much, and they asked the prince why he was doing this. Hiro thought that his request must not be what they needed right now. Hiro is negotiating now, even if he doesn't want to do it. All his words that he wanted to do something and he wanted the help meant only one thing. The guy considers the guys like minded people. Hiro doesn't really want to deceive his feelings because they are his friends. Suddenly, Saima asked Hiro to stop doing this. He advised Hiro to grow up. The guy doesn't understand why they're talking about wheat. Saima said that his father and grandfather, they also grew wheat until they realized that it was a lost cause. Hiro assured the guy that such failures would not happen again. Saima was very tense. He shouted that it was good. So be it. If the hero prince tells him about it, then he will believe him. Saima said they would grow wheat. He asked Hiro to raise his head. Otherwise, he doesn't look well. No one is going to beat him there anyway. Hiro raised his head and thanked Saimi for that. Saima replied to the guy that a long time ago he would have found it disgusting. Suddenly, people started asking guys what they thought was reasonable. People protested and said that they would not grow wheat. The people were sure that their prince was talking nonsense. He doesn't know anything about agriculture. Some of the people shouted that the royal family is not starving, which is why they say so. They didn't care what happened to ordinary people. They are not going to give the opportunity to use their fields. Hiro knew that he wouldn't be able to convince them that way. If he fails to do this, then the guy will not have the opportunity to move on. Suddenly, Saima couldn't stand it and shouted at the men to listen to him. Everyone was stunned by the guy's loud scream and was very surprised by this outcome. Saima shouted that people were saying that Hiro didn't know anything about agriculture, or that he didn't know about the suffering of ordinary people. The guy asked the men not to talk nonsense. He asked the guys how they could say that with confidence. People covered their ears and said that he was shouting very loudly. Saima asked the men to remember who shared their knowledge with them when there was a crop failure, thanks to whom it was possible to change the situation at that time. Hiro thought that he didn't have as much power as his brother Takumu. There is no such mind as Agatha's brother. He had nothing that could be useful to this country. Saima asked the men what they were saying, that Hiro didn't know about human suffering. He didn't have to break through these difficult times with them at all, but they were sweating together. Gritting their teeth, they wanted to make this country a better place. When Hiro heard their complaints and suggested a way to make things a little better, they hid their heads. The guy asked the knights to look at these iron hose they have. Hiro kept thinking that he was helpless. He's just wasting his time trying to do something. He's just trying to forget that he's helpless. The guy reminded that there were no good doctors in the country, and the Hero Prince was the only person who treated them all. Simon said that when his mother fell ill, Hiro took care of her tirelessly for 3 days and 3 nights. It's only thanks to him that she's alive and well now. Simon was sure that telling the guy that Hiro didn't care what happened to the people was stupid. Hiro thought that this was just complacency, because that's all he could do. Simon said that he believes Hiro because he is a Hero Prince. They all tried together. They helped together. Simon said that if he says that everything is fine and wheat is better than potatoes, then they can only trust him. People stood in a stupor and comprehended Simi's words. At that moment, Hiro thought that he should also tell them something. The guy can't just find the words for it. He doesn't know what to say. The guy had too many feelings. He couldn't control himself. Hiro understood that this was the first time he had felt this way. People were confused. Their conscience was clearly gnawing at them after all that Saima had told them. The people began to apologize to the third prince of the kingdom. The men said that they understood everything, but growing wheat is still unreliable. 5 years ago, one of the knight's younger brother died of starvation. He was also on the verge of death. He remembers all this time. The men apologized to Hiro and said that they were afraid and thought it was too unreliable, forgetting the good done by the Hero Prince. The men rebuked him. They didn't think about it at all. Hiro smiled at the guys and said that no, he understands what they are all afraid of. But the guy himself would never let them down. The men began to rejoice at this. They talked enthusiastically about trying to grow wheat. Hiro told one of their knights that he had brought them something. Hiro said that there was a little bit, but it was fresh bread from harvested potatoes. The knight was surprised that there were so many of them. The men immediately began to taste it and say that it was very tasty. Hiro said that if they planted wheat, they would have a lot of bread. Saima told Hiro that the people were crying a little. Hiro asked the guy why it happened. The guy thought that if you can see their true feelings despite all the insults, then everything is fine. And all this is thanks to Saima. Hiro promised that he would not betray their promises and faith. Previously, in order not to worry, he had considered double and triple precautions. This time he will try even harder. The boys went to the castle. Agatha turned to Hiro and said that he had done a good job. Hiro replied that if it had been Agatha, he would have convinced everyone himself. The older brother asked how Hiro knew this. Hiro said that he was able to convince the people only with eloquence. It would have been better if he'd been beaten. Agatha said that, firstly, if this case is used correctly, then the loyalty of Saimea, which is significant among the residents, will only grow. If so, then the rest of the inhabitants will also fiercely support Hiro, and then he will become king. Hiro replied that he didn't like how self-serving it sounded. Agatha replied that politics includes that. The guy continued and said that, secondly, it was incredibly important. Agatha wanted to say that he was afraid of something in Hiro. Hiro asked his brother again that he was really afraid of him. Agatha agreed with the guy. He said Hiro said he was happy with what he was doing. He's been helping different people for a long time. If you look at the scale of the whole country, these are minor things. However, if you put it all together, it will turn into a huge force. Agatha meant the trust of the people. The guy said the people believe in what Hiro will tell them, and they will follow him. You can't get trust in one day. It is an inviolable treasure as well as the strongest weapon. The guy said that if Hiro becomes king, then he should remember well that the complacency he was talking about turned into trust. If Hiro has it, then this country can change. Agatha said that everything he had done up to now was not in vain. Hiro thought about his brother's words. The guy thought that he probably wanted someone to tell him that all this time. Agatha said that he did all this in order to understand what kind of weapons he possesses before becoming king. Alchemy is nothing more than a tool. Therefore, in order to change the country, he must think about more. What scares Agatha was the trust that Hiro was able to gain. He asked his younger brother not to forget about it for anything. Agata promised that if Hiro forgets about it, he will not forgive him and will get this country. Hiro thought that Agatha's brother had noticed him. He owes him a favor. These two want to be themselves. They are not ashamed of anything. The guy understood that in order to be worthy of gaining the trust of these people, he would also remain himself. Hiro believed that he could certainly change this country if he loved it. After a while, Hiro came to the arable land and handed out sheets of information to people. But the men did not understand what was written there. They tried to read, or they tried to understand from the pictures. The next day, the guy started planting wheat in all the fields. Hiro took over the head of wheat sowing to ensure the correctness of the technique and effective fertilization of the soil. Hiro asked the guys to put this seed in the ground and fertilize it. Hiro is leading the process this year, but starting next year, he will train people from the village so they can replace him. Hiro understood that explaining everything once is not enough, so he distributes the instructions. After a while, Simon told everyone that their work was over for today. People started saying that they had done a good job, and then they will definitely continue their work. Hiro asked the guys not to worry. The guy said that sometimes cold weather spoils wheat, but it can grow calmly at low temperatures. People realized that the prince really understands everything. Simon asked Hiro that he had to return to the castle now. Hiro replied that he was leading such a chaotic life right now. The guy understood that a sense of completeness had appeared in his life. The tunnel continues to be built little by little. Wheat crops are increasing. Hiro told the men that before winter comes, beautiful ears of corn will definitely appear in the fields. This surprised the guys very much. People were talking about how they would be able to eat a lot of delicious wheat. They couldn't wait for this moment. Hiro thought that when the wheat sprouted, the whole country would be filled with smiles. He can't wait for that day either. After a while, Hiro came to his room and asked about the fact that it was already dinner time. Hibana knocked on the guy's room and carefully looked out from behind the door. Suddenly, the girl couldn't stay on her feet and she fell to the ground. In a panic, Hiro started asking if the girl was okay. Hibana undressed, and Hiro saw bruises all over her body. The guy said that she had been badly beaten again. Hibana replied that she had hooked him this time. Hiro told the girl that she was able to hit a weak spot. The guy started applying ointment on the girl's back and said that it would make her feel better. Hibana screamed in pain and asked the guy to be careful. Hiro said that he was done with the back and she could spread the front herself. Hibana asked the guy what needs to be smeared there too. Hiro replied that they say you can only do this after you get married. Hibana said it was an unexpected statement from a member of the royal family. She will be looking forward to this moment. Hiro told the girl that, however, due to the fact that she hooked him, they might have a chance to win. Hibana said that she could hit him during acceleration. The power of her equipment was put into that strike. Hiro replied that it was already good. He asked the girl if she had noticed anything else interesting. Hibana replied that no. He had perfect concentration. The girl said that when she fought the prince for the first time, she couldn't move her arms or legs. But today, on the third day of training, she was finally able to land one punch. If this continues, then in the 3 remaining days, she will be able to completely defeat him. Hiro said that it sounded promising. He is looking forward to her victory. Hiro asked the girl that she had once told him that there were 8 people among the Golden Knights who were unable to defeat her. But the guy didn't know anything about the other 4. Hibana replied that she thinks her strength and the strength of these knights is almost equal. The knights match the number of sacred swords, but 8 of them are outstanding. The girl said that if Hiro had a sword, she was sure that he could win too. Hiro replied that this meant that there were ranks among the Golden Knights too. He asked Hibana how she would rate Takuma compared to the knights. The girl replied that even if the opponents had holy swords, he would have defeated 5. But he couldn't handle the other 3. Those who are called the 3 sacred swords are special. Hiro asked the girl what could happen if her brother had a magic sword made by him. Then he would be able to defeat the 3 sacred swords. The girl replied uncertainly that maybe he would have won them, or maybe he would have lost. Hiro said that until today he knew that his brother was strong but did not understand if this was the case on a global scale. But he is well aware of his powerful strength, comparable to that of the Golden Knights. Hiro said that if they could include Takuma in their plan, then the chances of their success would increase. Hibana asked the guy what the plan was. Hiro said that the main problem of this country is neighboring countries. When they find out about the wealth of their country, the invasions will begin. At such a time, the best way to solve the problem is not to use force. Hibana agreed with the guy. However, Hiro said that the number of people who were supporters of victory at any cost far exceeded those who did not need the war. They can only fight as a last resort, because there are also peaceful measures. People say it's better to have a trump card up your sleeve. The guy was sure that if they had Takumu, who was able to fight 3 sacred swords by force, and Hibana, who would surpass him, then potentially 2 in this country could become as powerful as 3 sacred swords. Maybe they can defeat the Golden Knight Order. Hibana replied that, however, it was arrogant now to think that together they could defeat the Golden Knights. After all, they need another person. The girl said that Hiro would become that person. The guy replied that no. Even if he had a first-class sword, he would not become the best. Hibana replied that she understood that. The girl said that he would be on par with them because of his fighting style. In that case, it will be enough. Hiro replied that it was possible, but it was not necessary. Hiro said that, besides, it would be nice to try to find out the combat power of alchemical silver. Hiro asked the girl not to change her clothes in his room. Hibana asked the guy what was wrong with that. In the future, they will most likely live together. Hiro thought that the girl was headstrong. The guy said that if there are no issues with the equipment, then they will not waste time. The guy asked the girl if something had happened to her. Hibana replied that she had a request. The girl said she wanted him to name her sword. The girl was sure that this was an important gift from the man she trusted with her life. Therefore, calling it a magic sword was somehow sad. Hiro asked the girl that he had made this sword especially for her. Nothing would happen if he gave it a name. Hibana replied that of course she wanted him to be named Hiro. The guy asked Hibana why she wanted to do this. The girl replied that it was sentimentality. The guy thought that he didn't understand anyway. But if it made her happy, then he would definitely come up with a name for her sword. Suddenly, the girl took out her sword, and it illuminated the room with a bright light. The guy immediately understood what he would call this sword. Hiro told the girl that the name of this sword would be Hinabi from now on. Hibana asked the guy why he called him that. Hiro replied that the sparkling fiery flowers blooming in the sky were truly beautiful. When using the sword, Hibana sparkles, so he found this name appropriate. Hibana said it was very romantic. She would like to see these flowers. Hiro thought about it and said that it was not so impossible. The guy said that when she defeated Takuma in a duel, that evening they would celebrate and set off fireworks. Hibana asked the guy what would happen if she lost. Hiro replied that nothing would happen then. They will do the work on the mistakes. Hibana told the guy that then she would never lose. Fighting without knowing the meaning of her sword is too sad. Hiro thought about the fact that there were 3 days left before the fight. It would be foolish to design such a complicated fireworks display now. But even so, he can handle it. The guy wants to see Hibana admiring him. Hiro thought that Hibana looking at the fireworks was much more beautiful than the fireworks themselves. Suddenly, Hibana started doing push-ups abruptly, and the girl said she didn't have time to rest. She needs to work as hard as possible. Hiro asked the girl not to overdo it today, for the 3 days that remained before the fight. Hiro supported Hibana, and the girl trained with all her might. And then came the very day of the duel between Takumu and Hibana. When Hiro and Hibana arrived at the arena, everyone immediately shouted that the prince had come. After them, Princess Nayuki came to the arena. People talked about seeing her for the first time. When people shouted at the princess, Rebecca reacted very aggressively. Hiro looked at Nayuki and thought that she was at ease. The guys approached Takuma, who was already waiting for them in the arena. Hiro thought that he remembered the day Hibana and Takumu fought for the first time. But today the guy was sure that they had an equal chance of winning. Agata entered the arena and said that he would witness the duel between Takumu and Hiro. The guy said that his Hibana knight would fight in this duel instead of Hiro. This is a serious battle with real swords. The condition of victory is to strike with a sword. The loser renounces the right of succession. The second prince of the kingdom, Agatha, has already disowned him. The guy said that this way, the winner automatically becomes the next king. He asked the guys if anyone minded. Hiro and Takumu replied that they had no objections. Takumu held up his sword and said that he was entrusting his fate to him. Hiro also said that he was entrusting his fate to his knight's sword. Hiro said that the preparation was completed. He asked Takumu if he was ready. The brother replied that no, they should wait. The guy turned to Hiro and said that in this duel he was asking his knight to win. Hiro and all the other witnesses were very surprised by this statement. The knights started talking about the fact that their leader said he wanted to lose. People began to assume that they had agreed in advance. Takumu said so that people wouldn't misunderstand him. He's not giving up. The guy asked Hiro to justify his beliefs with a fight. If he couldn't surpass him, then his views would become insignificant. In that case, it would be better for them to disappear, for his sake and the good of the country. And then Takumu will become king. This angered Hiro, and the guy said that if he surpassed him, the guy would recognize his beliefs as true. He would provide him with subordinates that he had forged himself. Takumu asked everyone to look carefully at the arena. The guy said that he would fight at full strength, so everything is happening in a serious way. Takumu added that when he was surpassed, he would recognize Hiro. All the people were very surprised by this, but after a moment, they began to rejoice and support the prince. Hiro looked at the men and thought that all these people who follow Takumu want to see his strength. The guy understood that they believed Takumu and were glad that they would be able to see him fight at full strength. Therefore, the guy is eager to see the power that will surpass him. Hiro thought about it and looked at Hibana. The guy turned to Takumu and said that he had heard everything that his brother wanted to tell him. Now all he has to do is win. Hiro saw that Hibana was not herself. He gently touched the girl, but it scared her very much. Hiro asked the girl if she was afraid. Hibana replied that yes, she was afraid. But all her fear disappears thanks to the fright. Everything is fine now. Hiro thought about how she was pretending to be strong. However, thanks to this pretense, she feels confident in herself. The guy understood that Hibana had really grown up. Hiro turned to the girl and told her to go and win. Hibana and Takumu were ready for battle. Before the start of the fight, Takumu asked the girl to demonstrate her superiority. Hibana replied that she was the only one who could resist him. She's gotten stronger, but she's still no match for Takumu. The girl said that no matter what, together with Hiro, they can win. The guys were determined to fight. Agatha shouted that the duel had begun. As soon as he waved his hand, Hibana immediately headed towards Takumu. Hiro said that the girl used the acceleration function. The guy understood that, thanks to this function, the work of the brain and the internal current of the body are stimulated, as well as the acuity of dynamic vision and reflexes are enhanced. Hibana attacks first, and Takumu is completely open. If she doesn't succeed now, she'll just be killed. Hibana confidently struck at Takuma, but the girl could only hook Hiro's brother. Hiro knew that she could see all his movements now. The guys continued to fight, and Nayuki and Rebecca watched them. Nayuki said that Hibana is very cool. Rebecca replied that although Mr. Takumu had stepped back, he continued to evade her. The guys continued to strike at each other numerous times, but they managed to dodge. At one point, Takumu confidently pointed his sword towards Hibana. The guy swung his sword at the girl with all his might. Hibana noticed this, so she tried to dodge the guy in time. Everyone was surprised that Takumu lunged with a sword. Hibana managed to put her hands in front of her, and she stopped the blow with the handle. Takumu said that he thought they would end at this point. But despite this, Hibana rushed towards the guy. Hiro thought that the girl had instantly moved into the blind spot. The attack would not be visible from there. Takumu didn't have time to figure out what had happened. At that moment, Hibana swung her sword towards the guy. She managed to stab him in the back, but something went wrong. The next second, the girl realized that there was no one in front of her. Hibana's face changed a lot, because the girl realized that her plan had not worked. Hibana turned back and saw Takumu standing behind her, although Hibana was out of sight. Based on her position, Takumu predicted the trajectory. This allowed the guy to strike at Hibana. The girl realized at the last second that her battle was over. Hiro was very scared that his sword was flying straight at Hibana. The girl managed to gather her thoughts, calculate the trajectory, and strike at the guy. The girl struck a strong enough blow that allowed her to break Takumu's sword. The sword flew back, and everyone present held their breath as they watched the battle. In the next instant, Hibana struck at the guy's chest, from which blood gushed out. Hibana realized that it was at this moment that she had won. Agatha immediately announced the result that Hibana Clurford was the winner. Hiro realized that he needed to save his brother right now. He ran up to Takumu and began to pour the potion over him. This potion allowed Takumu's wounds to heal quickly, which did not lead to any consequences, and all his wounds healed. Hiro anxiously asked his brother if he was okay. Takumu forcefully touched his chest and said that it looked like magic. Hiro said that his wounds have healed on the surface of the skin, but he needs rest for the next 3 days so that the wounds do not open again. Takumu asked in surprise that such wounds would heal in 3 days. Takumu said that the sword and armor were worn out in this battle, but they turned out to be very reliable. The guy got up from the ground and regretfully said that he had lost to Hibana to the nines. Hiro immediately began to worry about his brother and reminded him that it was better for the guy not to move now. Takumu said that imagining what would happen if a magic sword collided with an ordinary one, he tried to avoid hitting it in a duel. But Hibana's counterattack exceeded all his expectations. The guy said that the moment he deflected her blow, the outcome of the battle was already a foregone conclusion. Takumu turned to the knights and told them that they had seen everything. The guy asked people that didn't he look like an idiot who made it easier for his opponent to win. The guy said that thanks to the sword and equipment made by Hiro, Hibana managed to equalize the forces in the duel. Faith in this power allows you to entrust the power to Hiro. Takumu turned to Hiro, and he asked his brother to make them stronger with his power. For his sake, they use it for good. These words calmed and pleased the guy, so he replied to his brother that he promised him this. Hiro said that he promises Takuma and his fighter that they will use these powers to revive the country. That's why Hiro asked people to use his knowledge to become stronger. The knights listened to the guys, and then they loudly supported them. Takumu asked all the people to congratulate Hiro on becoming the next king. There will be no reward, but they should just be happy for the guy. Everyone immediately started cheering and supporting Hiro. At that moment, a puzzled Hiro approached Hibana, who was sitting on the ground. The guy thanked the girl from the bottom of his heart for coping with her task. Hibana replied that it was very strange for her to stay alive. She had already thought about dying in this battle. The girl was sure that she was just lucky that she was able to prevent the blow. Hiro replied to the girl that it was not luck. Luck would not have saved her. The guy was sure that Hibana had become stronger, as expected from her knight. Hibana admitted that she was very pleased to hear this. The guys smiled at each other. After a while, people sat down at the tables and began to eat potatoes. Hiro also ate and thought that even though this was a long-awaited event, he was still very serious and gloomy. Ivana told the guy that she knew it was a tasteless potato. Hiro replied that if they only had salt, the potatoes would have a taste. The guy said they should have dealt with this before they started growing potatoes, but they needed both wheat and potatoes. Nayuki ran up to the guys and shouted to them that she congratulated them on their victory. Rebecca also joined in the congratulations. Hiro thanked the girls for their support. Hibana said that even though she won, she doesn't feel any joy from this event. The girl believed that if she had an ordinary sword, she would definitely lose to Takuma. Hiro told the girl that everything was fine now. Hibana replied that even if that was the case, the next time, under the same conditions, they would definitely win. In that case, Nayuki asked to be invited to the battle. Nayuki told Hibana that her fight was just great. The girl thanked her for the compliment. At that moment, one of the men asked the others that the potatoes had already run out. He was told that it was as if they had not even begun to savor it. Hibana said that even though it was tasteless, it was still sad that it was over. Hiro said it was strange to him. He asked me to cook more. Nayuki asked the guys not to worry about it. Rebecca called out to the assistants to bring in the dish. Nayuki shared with the guys that in fact, half of the potatoes went to prepare for the celebration of Brother Hiro's victory. The girl hoped that they would like it. Hiro asked Nayuki with surprised eyes that they were croquettes. The guy said that it just couldn't be. He asked Nayuki that she had made them herself. The girl replied that yes, because this is the dish that Hiro's brother told her about. After all, he has been wanting to try them for so long. Takumu asked the guys what it was. It looked very tasty and appetizing. Agata asked Hiro that this dish was made of potatoes. He had never seen anything like it. Hiro replied that it was better for them to eat it with their hands. Hiro immediately tasted the dish and said that it was very tasty. Next, the men tried Hibana. They also said that it was a delicious, crispy dish. Takumu turned to Nayuki and asked the girl that she had prepared this dish. The guy was very pleased to eat it. Nayuki melted and thought about how Takumu's brother had praised her. Rebecca thought that everyone liked Princess Nayuki incredibly. Hiro told Nayuki that she made such delicious potato croquettes. The girl replied that when the housewives salted the goat meat, there was excess fat left from it, which the girl took and used, adding a little salt. Nayuki also said that she carefully ground the potatoes with the addition of meat, salt, and milk, as a result of which they turned out to be soft and crumbly. Then she took the flour and eggs, dried the bread, and got breadcrumbs. Hiro said that to cook such a delicious dish, using only second Vfov, Atalu ready ingredients. Not everyone will succeed. The guy understood that if he told the people about it, they would be incredibly happy. Nayuki replied that she used an iron pan and a lot of oil for roasting. There weren't many iron pots in the city, and to get enough fat, I had to crush a lot of goat meat. Nayuki has to say that without frying it is a good way. Rebecca supported the girl and said that even the king should not make Princess Nayuki sad. Hiro said that no, making oil from plants is quite simple, but the situation with iron is much more complicated. The guy thought that there are no mines in this country, so there is a categorical lack of iron. However, from now on, she will definitely enrich herself. Even in order to prepare for war, a lot of iron will be needed. An easy way to extract it is to import it from neighboring countries, but if they encounter resistance when purchasing a large amount of iron, they risk falling into the hot hand of other countries that consider them hostile because of such purchases. Hiro thought that in the event of a war, he would first of all like to secretly extract a lot of iron. At that moment, Nayuki asked her brother not to worry so much. Hiro apologized to the girl and said that it wasn't because of the dish, he just thought about the need for iron. Hiro promised the girl that they would certainly get it in the near future, and then iron pots and knives will finally appear in people's homes. This made Nayuki very happy. At that moment, Agatha told the guys that it seemed to him that he was thinking about something unreasonable right now. Agatha told Hiro that today he became king, de jure and de facto, so he shouldn't upset them with Takumu's brother. The guys clinked their mugs, and Hiro promised this to his older brother. The guys continued their celebration. Agata told Hiro that Nayuki had surprised them too. She was able to cook such a complicated dish. Not only does she possess a sufficient amount of knowledge, she is also not deprived of the necessary level of expressiveness. It was immediately obvious who the bookworm was. Hiro said that she was trying her best to help them. The guy asked Agatha that maybe they could entrust her with political issues. Agatha categorically replied that he was against it. Hiro replied to his brother that he understood him, and he was also against drawing public attention to her. For her sake, the guy doesn't want to use his sister. Hiro asked if it was right to let her do nothing but cook. Agatha was thinking, and at that moment, Nayuki came up to them. The girl said that she had talked too much, was not too tired, so she goes back to her room. Suddenly, the girl took a step back and stumbled upon a lying mug. Because of this, the girl couldn't stay on her feet, and she slipped. Agatha and Hiro began to worry very much about the girl. Therefore, they immediately rushed to her aid. The guys managed to grab the girl and catch her at the same time. Due to the brothers' speed and agility, Nayuki was not hurt. This situation made the guys laugh. Rebecca realized that something had happened to Nayuki. She immediately ran up to the girl and asked her if she was okay. Nayuki replied that yes, her brothers had saved her from falling. She thanked Agate and Hiro for that. Hiro told Agatha that he had a strange feeling. The older brother replied that even though they had not been on good terms before, Agatha admitted that it was a lot of fun to spend time with them. Hiro replied that he did too. Although Nayuki had been their communication mediator before, they almost never got together like this. Nayuki said that it was because their relationship was too bad. She tried to get along with both of them all the time, so the girl wanted them to become the same. Hiro apologized and said that the girl constantly had to be a bridge between them. Agatha said that he still had work to do, so he also decided to return to the castle. Suddenly, Hiro turned to the guys and asked them if they could wait a bit. It's just that now they can all see something interesting together. The guys asked Hiro what he meant. In response, Hiro started calling out to everyone to get their attention. The guy said that he had prepared something in honor of today's battle of Hibana and Takumu. He asked everyone gathered to look towards the flag. Hiro went into the archway, took hold of the fuse of the fireworks, and turned on the electricity. At that moment, everything caught fire and prepared for takeoff. A very roar, a massive fireworks display appeared right in front of the guys. All the people were shocked because it was unexpected and very fascinating. The guy told Hibana that these are fiery flowers blooming in the sky, which the girl was talking about. These are the fireworks. The guy asked the girl if she liked it. Hibana looked at him with a bewitching heart and said that it was a beauty. People couldn't figure out what it was. The whole sky shone, and they liked it. Takumu was surprised to ask the guys that Hiro had done all this. Agatha replied that it was wonderful. He had never seen anything like it before. Nayuki agreed with the brothers and said that she wanted to look at it again. All the people were happy, and Hiro really liked the atmosphere. The guy thought that if people didn't like fireworks, it would be a waste of time. but it doesn't matter now. The guy could see that people were happy. Hibana turned to Hiro and said that this firework was incredibly beautiful. The girl promised that she would never forget him. Hiro said that it was quite difficult to make, so he is glad that everyone liked it. Hibana said that her sword was named after something so beautiful. Hiro replied that the owner of this sword is as beautiful as the fireworks themselves. The girl admitted that she was very happy. However, Hibana said that she was not worthy of such a name yet. Therefore, she will continue to try so that one day Hiro will show her even more beautiful fireworks. Hiro replied to the girl that he would wait for it. Hibana asked the guy if he remembered what he said, that if he got wheat, he would arrange a harvest festival. On this holiday, the guy wanted to announce his coronation. Hiro asked the guys to imagine that for the first time in the entire existence of this land, such a feast would be organized on it that bread, ale, and seafood would hardly be on the tables. The holiday is sure to be great and there will be a lot of fireworks. Such a celebration should definitely please everyone. Hibana said it sounded too sweet. She asked the guy what was really possible. Hiro replied that he would do it. The guy said that by the time of the holiday, they will have a lot of millet. A tunnel has been dug to the sea. They will have access to salt and will finally be able to get seafood. Hiro was sure that they would become much richer. When winter comes, there will be enough food. This was exactly the kind of future he wanted to give people. Hibana admitted that it was very cool. Hiro agreed with the girl and said that he believed that just existing is not enough. Happiness is not a dream. That's what he wants to convey to the people at the harvest festival. The guy said that he had found a common goal for them all and would go towards it no matter what. Only through diligence can they make each other happy. After a great feast, the guys went to the castle. Hibana was very happy about the end of such a wonderful day. The girl said the fireworks were amazing, but Hiro sulked and said that it was hard for him to walk. Hibana told the guy that he was much more handsome than she imagined. His echo is still flashing in the girl's head. Hibana asked the guy that this round shape and fiery color appeared due to alchemy. Hiro replied that it was chemistry and nothing more. The guy said that the shape is regulated by a large circle, which already contains small powder balls. By igniting special metals, they will be able to extract the fiery color. This is called a color reaction. The guy added that he had given his best with fireworks, but he was going to prepare even better for the harvest festival. Hibana said it sounded really cool. Hiro replied that it was quite possible to survive the winter, but due to lack of food, the harvest festival had not been held for at least 20 years. Hibana replied that everything would be fine. She would also try to do her best. If the girl can enjoy Hiro's fireworks again, then she will give her all. Hiro asked the girl if she was still full. Hibana replied that not at all. She's always hungry. Princess Nayuki's croquettes were amazing. Suddenly, Hiro asked the girl what she would say to try dessert. This proposal surprised the girl very much. Hiro brought Hibana to the experimental farm. Hibana asked the guy what they could make from wheat, but the guy replied that no, there is not only wheat there. He called the girl to come with him. Several greenhouses appeared in front of the girl's eyes, which surprised Hibana very much. The girl said that it was a very wonderful building. Hiro replied that if he went there, he would be even more surprised. The guys went into the greenhouse together and the girl shouted that she saw very large fruits. Hiro told Hibana that they are called melons. Hibana said that they smelled so sweet that the girl even felt dizzy. Hiro replied that it was a fruit from the Far East, where it was quite difficult to get it. Melons are very expensive. Fortunately, the guy managed to get their seeds in a unique way. Hibana asked the guy what method he was talking about because it sounded very suspicious. The girl assumed that they were really very expensive. The smell alone made the girl drool. For the first time in her life, Hibana feels such a sweet smell. This made the guy laugh, and Hibana said they had no choice. Sweets are not something that can be enjoyed regularly in their country. Hibana told the guy that she wanted to try the melon as soon as possible. The girl asked the guy if she could do it. Hiro replied that yes, she could choose any melon. Hibana said she would try the biggest one then. Hibana asked the guy that there is no land in this field. Although it does not exist, it is also possible to grow fruits there. Hiro replied that it was called hydroponics. The guy said that most of the cultivation is carried out at the expense of water and fertilizers. In agriculture, you can grow something only thanks to the fertile soil. So the girl got the impression that there were no other ways. Hibana asked the guy why they couldn't be seen from the outside. The guy replied that it was just a precaution. The guy said that the hydroponic equipment is too complicated to manufacture, so people can say something like that the guy did it using alchemy. Although he wouldn't say that there is so much equipment there. Hibana thought about how Hiro sometimes retreats into himself. The guy said that before growing, he thought it was a good way to attract foreign capital. It would be great to use them as a gift for some significant dates. Hibana held the melon up and said that thanks to Hiro, she could taste such yummy food. The girl promised that she would not tell anyone about it. Hiro thought that she had chosen the sweetest-looking one. It was the true feeling of a night. The girl continued to admire the smell of this melon, and she asked Hiro if he would have it. The guy asked if one melon would be enough for both of them. Hiro laughed and said they could eat it all the guy wanted. Try at least half of it. Hibana told the guy that she agreed with him. They began to cut the melon into convenient pieces, and Hiro said that they were taking out the seeds and cutting them into 4 pieces. When everything was ready, Hiro told Hibana that they could try. Hibana said that when cut, the sweet fragrance feels even stronger. The guy offered the girl to take a piece in her hands and she can safely bite it. Hiro wished the girl a pleasant appetite. As soon as Hibana tasted the melon, she immediately realized what it tasted like. The girl said that she had a rich, sweet taste, and besides, it's very juicy. The girl understood that every time she bites it, sweet juice comes out of her. Hibana was amazed that the melon is so soft and it melts in her mouth. Suddenly, Hibana started eating the outside of the melon, and the girl said it was hard. The guy told Hibana that it was a peel, so she shouldn't eat it. The guy realized that he needed to tell about it in advance. The guy told the girl that there was still a lot left, so they can eat more. The guys began to eat this melon and enjoy its taste. After a while, only a crust remained of it. Hibana said that it was incredibly delicious. It was truly a heavenly fruit. The girl said that, like now, she had never been so glad that she followed him. Hiro said that it hurt him to hear about it. Hibana told the guy that she wanted others to taste such yummy food. The guy replied that if people found out about them, he might be restless. The guy asked what they thought about using it as a reward. He will give 1 melon to the one who will achieve heights either in war or in cultivating the land. Hibana said that she personally is ready to kill people for a melon. The guy asked the girl not to joke with him like that. The girl said that it was really delicious for her. This was the first time she had tried it in her life. Today, the girl saw the most beautiful thing in a person's life and also tasted something most delicious. The guy replied that it probably wouldn't hurt sometimes. He will give it to her as a reward. Hibana said that then she should try hard for such a reward. Suddenly, the girl felt some amazing smell. The girl turned around and told the guy that there was also a pleasant smell coming from that side, and it did not look like a melon. Hiro asked the girl if she had noticed him. The guy said that there is actually something special there. Hiro invited the girl there and said that now was the right time to open them and try. Hibana sniffed the contents of the barrel and said that there was a pleasant smell. The girl asked what alcohol it was. Hiro replied that the girl was right. This is a cellar with melon tincture. The guy said that having grown a large number of melons, he cannot eat it all alone. And even what is left cannot be used entirely for fertilizers. So the guy thought about it and decided that he could try to make a melon tincture. Hibana asked the guy if he was serious. He originally wanted to throw away such a yummy thing. The guy replied that no matter how delicious it was, he couldn't show it to the people right now. Hibana replied that she understood everything, but she was still very sorry. Hiro thought Hibana really liked the melon. The guy told me that the tincture can be stored in the cellar every year. When he has no doubts about her taste, he will finally be able to present her to the people. Hibana replied that she understood everything. She will be waiting for that day to come. Hibana asked the guy if she could taste what he got. The guy did not refuse the girl this. Hiro told the girl that if she didn't like it, she didn't have to drink. He adjusted this tincture to his taste. She can help herself. Hibana said she would try a little. Suddenly, the girl's eyes widened, and she said that it was wonderful. The tincture had a concentrated melon flavor. Hiro said that to make the tincture, the melon had to be crushed and left to ferment for a while. Hibana said that not only was she sweet, the girl drinks sweet alcohol for the first time in her life. She can drink as much of it as she wants. Hiro said that the creation of sweet alcohol in itself is very problematic, since all sweetness is reduced in the process of converting sugar into alcohol. However, if the melon has a high concentration of sugar, then yeast fermentation can be stopped so that the alcohol remains sweet. Hibana admiringly told the guy that then he was able to make not only a sweet, but also a difficult sweet tincture. It was very tasty, and the girl couldn't wait to get drunk enough. Hibana asked the guy if she could have another cup. The guy replied that she could drink if she liked. Hiro thought that was exactly what he had said at the time, without paying much attention to his words. The guy said that, yes, he remembers, but that's just his problem. The guy's been getting too chatty lately. Hiro confessed to the girl that he thinks his feelings for her have become stronger than his feelings for his sister. The guy is afraid that if he falls in love with someone else, the memory of his own sister will disappear inside him. He knows he shouldn't say that. Hiro didn't know what he had done to help her in any way. He finally stopped trying. Hiro said that when the ground slips away from under his feet, he stops believing in himself. Apparently, he has already betrayed the faith of those people who entrusted it to him. Perhaps they should run away together and finally sort out their own feelings. Hiro was sure that he was so weak. Hibana didn't say anything. But the guy said that it was disgusting. The guy asked the girl that she was probably disappointed in him. Suddenly, Hibana hugged the guy tightly and said that it was the opposite. Hibana admitted that Hiro, allowed her to see his own weaknesses, which he had not talked about before. It's not fair. The guy apologized to the girl and said that she didn't hate him, so he's calm now. Hiro said he was a terrible egoist. Thanks to Hibana, he realized what he should do. He must revive this country and bring back Princess Mayali. Hibana asked the guy to give her his chance after all. Hiro agreed with the girl. The guy said that as long as she is with him, he feels that any obstacle is on his shoulder. The girl asked the guy to forget about everything that happened today. Hibana said she couldn't help herself. She was already very drunk. The girl assured him that everything he had heard before was just drunken nonsense. The girl lowered her head and said that to prove it, she was switching off. Hibana fell into Hiro's lap and fell asleep. Hiro thought about how he didn't think he could forget all the things she had told him. The guy did not understand how one could be able to forget what his beloved girl had told him. After a while, the guy took the girl on his back and went into the room. Hiro said that he would not forget about today, but would pretend that he had forgotten. The guy promised that when he returns his sister, he will seriously think about their relationship. Meanwhile, 2 months have passed since Hibana's victory day. On the eve of winter, everything is moving very fast. Measures to enrich the country and build up the army are gaining momentum. Hiro went into his father's room and asked him how he was feeling, but there was no response. The guy sat down by his father's bed and told him that he was going to make another version of the new medicine. With an awkward smile on his face, Hiro told his father that while he was sleeping, their country was gradually changing. The guy said that not so long ago they dug a tunnel that leads to the sea. Meanwhile, Hiro, Agata, Takumu, and Hibana went to the tunnel. The guys looked around, and Agatha said that when he sees this splendor, it takes his breath away. Hiro told the guys that you can even use a magic lamp in the Devil's Forest. Hibana added that they had been working so hard on this all this time. Takumu admitted that they had done something really unusual. The knight said that these were all the achievements of the prince. The man asked Hiro that there was an ocean behind this cave. Hibana corrected the man and said that it was actually a tunnel. Hiro replied to the man that yes, there is an ocean there. Unlike the lake, there are a lot more fish there. Hibana said that when the expedition group returned from the sea, there's a big commotion. They brought a lot of fish and shellfish. Then Hiro said that they needed even more, so he took the cart with him. Agatha told the guy that there were no horses there. He did not understand how they would go. Hiro replied that they had someone faster than horses. The next moment, the carriage sped down the tunnel. The guys were running very fast. Hibana told Takumu that he was training well. The guy agreed with her and said that he was running as fast as he could. The knights in the carriage were in a panic, and Agatha told Hiro that he was amazed at the guys. Hiro replied that he wasn't sure if they would be able to stop them. Agatha said they were great after all. They dragged his cart from the castle for longer. Hiro replied to his brother that he knew he would appreciate it. The guys noted that the cart does not shake at all, and the wheels do not make a sound. There is no loss of power. Hiro said that the road in the tunnel is perfect, especially if you put on tires. Agatha asked the guy what tires were. Hiro replied that they were wheel covers to improve driving efficiency. Hiro suggests that the combination of the wagon, the strength of these two, and the road allow them to move at a speed of about 50 kilometers per hour. Agatha replied that yes, it would not be bad to have such carriages. Hiro replied that he was designing another one for Agat's brother. He thinks he'll figure something out for him too. Agatha replied that he was grateful to him for this. At that moment, Takumu asked the girl that this was all she was capable of. The guy was sure that she was losing ground. But Hibana disagreed with him and said that they could arrange a duel if the guy was so confident. Hibana shouted that she had to win so as not to lose face. Takumu replied that he respected her persistence. Agatha, sitting in the cockpit, said that they had done a good job. Hiro said that he had heard that Takumu would be stronger. Suddenly, the guy shouted that they would be there soon. Hiro asked them to be careful, because they still have time. After a while, the guys arrived at the sea. People immediately began to rejoice that they saw such a huge sea. Hiro turned to the man and asked him why they didn't go fishing. The man agreed with the prince. The men went into the water and said they would catch a lot of fish. Their wives will definitely be happy about it. The men lowered their fishing rods and talked about seeing big fish there. Hibana looked at the guys and said that she thought everyone was happy. Hiro said that thanks to the tunnel, they managed to connect the main part of the country to the sea. Now it's time for them to take the next step. Hiro told his father that the sea is not the ultimate goal. It's just the beginning. They still have many great goals ahead of them. The guy remembered that he also had to talk about wheat. Hiro and Hibana came to the arable land where people were working and harvesting wheat. Hibana said it was amazing. She was glad the Carterosa now had wheat. Hiro said that it was finally harvest time. Hibana asked the guy how he managed to gather so many people. They did not want to harvest because the payment was low. Hiro replied that they had already harvested all the potatoes, and this time the long persons awaited wheat. Hibana thought that she thought Hiro was the happiest of all. Hibana asked the guy what kind of device it was. Hiro said it was a human-powered combine harvester. The harvester looks like a wheelbarrow with a blade sticking out from the edge. People put it into action, and it helps to harvest. Hibana was surprised and said that now they will set new records. Hiro told his father that he was just glad they had wheat now, and the guy also shared that he built a threshing machine and a water wheel. But the guy, as he thinks, overdid it, and Agatha didn't like it. Then Agatha told him that he was making up too many things. The guy asked Hiro what would happen if other countries paid attention to it. Hiro apologized to the guys, and Takumu said that thanks to him, they had a good harvest for once. Agatha said it meant there was enough food for everyone this year. This made the guys very happy. Thanks to the innovative work with fertilizers, the potato harvest has increased. Since they caught a lot of fish, they consume fewer potatoes. Thanks to salt, they will be able to pickle food. And now they have much more wheat growing. Hibana was pleased and said that they had succeeded. Hiro shared that such an issue as reducing the cost of provisions remained in the distant past. Agatha told the guys that when they distribute the products among the people, there will be a lot of things left. So they will use this for two purposes. The guy said that the first thing is supplies in case of war. The guy was sure that the neighboring countries would attack in the spring, so they needed more food supplies. Takumu asked the guy that they would attack this spring. Agatha replied that they buy salt from their neighbors, so they will definitely understand that the situation in the country has improved. It also takes time to gather troops and supplies. They will need time to invade Carterosa. In winter, there is too much snow to approach them somehow. Agatha said that was the reason they would launch an invasion in the spring. Hiro replied that they should gain enough strength to defeat their neighbors before spring. Agatha replied that this was exactly the case. They have already started the necessary preparations. Providing food is one of them. Then, they need to create an army. There would be magic swords in their army, but that wasn't enough. Agatha suggested asking Takuma to take up training in the winter in order to prepare for the war. Takuma replied that he would do so, and when the war starts, they will smash everyone to smithereens. Takuma was confident that they would return the lands and people they had taken from them. Hiro replied that he agreed with Takuma. The lands that were taken away from them have a unique fertility and a population of more than 2,000 people. Besides, the guy said that he wants to help his older people. Takuma said that if they wanted to, they could start right now. With a magic sword in their hands, they won't lose. Agatha replied that they didn't need to do that. There are fears that they may invade from the other side. The guy was sure that their neighbors were belligerent and unfriendly, but they still have some kind of relationship with them. If they attack from this place, other countries will request reinforcements. Agatha added that if they attack from the other side, they will attack them. Once they win, they will be able to establish ties with their neighbors. There will always be countries that will abandon their neighbors if there is a good reason. Hiro said that there are many reasons for such betrayal. Agatha said they wouldn't touch them that way. Agatha turned to Hiro and said that he assumed they had the opportunity to win this war. The guy asked if he could create a weapon capable of defeating their neighbors. Hiro replied that if they had time before spring, he could. The guy added that only if they could get the iron. He has the blueprints, but he needs a lot of metal. They can't just collect iron sand or buy iron from other countries. Takumu asked Hiro if he would really make it. Hiro asked his brother not to worry. When he was at sea, he came up with an interesting idea. Hiro told his father that his brother had allowed him to have a harvest festival. The harvest festival is an ode to a bountiful harvest and an opportunity for their beloved people to relax. The guy offered, but was not sure whether he should use their reserves to hold a holiday that was canceled 12 years ago. But now they can hold it. Hiro said that they are working hard for the prosperity of the country, and one day they will bring their sister back. The guy promised that he would see it when his father wakes up. Hiro stood up and said he had to go. Today he will take care of royal affairs. Meanwhile, people were celebrating a grand celebration. Hiro looked out of the carriage and said that all the people were having a good time. Hibana replied that today's speech would make the holiday even more exciting. Suddenly, people noticed that the prince and his knight rode up to them. Everyone started shouting to the guy that they were grateful to him for saving the country. People shout that salt is the best thing he did. They thought they would never eat white bread again. People started calling Hiro the Prince of Salt, and he was confused by it. Hibana told the guy that he was loved for returning the salt. Takuma asked to be proud of the fact that he brought smiles to the faces of the people. Agata said that the love of the people is the best medicine for the country. For some reason, everyone called him the Prince of Salt and Wheat, and Hiro didn't understand it. People shouted to the guy that they missed Prince Hiro, and they thanked him for the wheat. Hiro said that he even has a nickname,